Alright, that's fine.
I went back and added some more water, but there wasn't much I could use.
All good. Thank you, baby. Going live. I'm live now, I guess. There we go. Sweet. Alright. My life is a mess. Everything.
You know nothing about her.
I know.
What's that from?
What?
My life's a mess, but you know nothing about her.
I have no idea. I guess you won't tell me. That's cool. Oh. I don't know. I don't know, babe.
It was a question.
Alright, so I am live. What's up, people? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Why is this not connecting to chat? Oh, yeah. Jeez, it is. Why is Mix not playing? Alright, looks like we're up. And we're running. We're good to go. Sorry I'm late. I busted a chunk out of my foot. Oh, okay.
Dinner is served.
Okay.
Alright, have a good stream, baby.
Alright, I'm already live. I'm streaming already. It's amazing stream.
Oh, my hair was horrible.
Well,
I love you.
you've dealt with a lot, and you've fixed my foot. It was falling off. We'll do. Alright, love you.
You got a fan?
Okay.
Did you get a fan?
I have a five. I'm good. I'm good for now. I'll let you know. Thank you. What up, Doogie? What up? What up? What up?
It's like you'd hear a couple of semi-clear words and then...
You miss all the fucked up shit.
Am I? What kind of stuff is I missing?
Oh, it's real fucked up. Teaching them different Canadian accents.
Oh, nice. I like Canada
Oh
accents.
shit, the storm's here. Son of a bitch.
Do you
Canada accents.
Oh, Jesus Christ! So you need to understand. Like I was showing them one of the most ones that not even most Canadians can't even understand, and that's an accent we call like an area we call Newfoundland. It's one of the provinces on the East Coast, and they just sound absolute. They just sound absolute right off their rocker started. Like you can't even understand half of what they say to you.
I
Are you getting
believe
the
it.
body rim and the pot grill?
No, I'm shooting one of them balls.
Stop shooting balls, bro.
Stop shooting balls, bro.
Ball shooting song.
You got a med get out of it. So, you're alive. Shooting all the balls. All the balls.
There is an echo. I don't know if I'm the only one picking that up.
There is an echo.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let me. Hold on.
it was there before you got here, so it's not you, Joe.
What it do, Doogie? It do nothing, I guess. Where is my freaking camera? Why is my camera off? Boom! Camera's back. Oh, now I don't have any sound. There we go.
I'm going after this thing. It has a vault key in there.
Alright, shoot me an invite when you guys are done that game mode. I'm gonna do some Shadowfall in the meantime.
Shadowfall. What Shadowfall?
New game mode.
Oh, okay.
New fun stuff.
Cool.
Got another med kit. Alright, let me find out where the next fucking thing is.
So I was all ready for this stream. I had a half a day today. I was all prepared, walked the dogs, did all that. Just cut a fucking chunk out of my foot stepping on one of Dopey's bones. So I'm fucked up.
Man,
What
that
happened?
sounds rough.
I stepped on one of Opie's bones. We have like a little 4 foot, 3.5 foot tall bookcase. It's like maybe 18 inches wide. Has 4 shelves on it. We had like DVDs and stuff on it. Well, he had knocked it over.
Oh, thanks.
And then that was earlier, and I was just didn't do anything about it. Finally was gonna pick it up before I start streaming. I realized there's no way I can get it without the DVDs falling out because it fell face down. So I pick it up, DVDs all over the floor. I then put the thing back, and it's like 3.5 feet tall.
Let's go to the vault.
So I push it so it stands up like against the wall. Well, it bounces back, and it's gonna fall. So I'm like, oh shit. So I move my feet out of the way real quick, and in doing so, I lose my balance and I step over. The net falls to the ground. Step over that and all the DVDs. All 300 fucking pounds of me right on the dog's fucking bone. Cut a chunk out of like, not my arch, but like the outside of my foot.
Dang. And it took actually.
Yeah, it's like a
chunk out
big
of it?
scrape, but it hurts like a motherfucker. It was bleeding all crazy.
Ooh, I bet.
So,
Dude, you better pour
Can
some
imagine.
alcohol.
yeah,
in that
yeah.
shit With the dog's mouth germs on
I know.
it,
He
I dropped the blue hat.
eats shit for fun. Like,
Yeah, my sister got
Story.
bit by just a little dog, you know, and like her foot swelled up so bad, and like it took 2 or 3 weeks to get better, you know, and she had to go to the ER or some shit to get the antibiotics for it. Like,
yeah, that shit is no fun.
hopefully that won't be the case with you.
Yeah,
Just saying.
hopefully,
Just
yeah.
that
We
shit.
while it was still like throbbing and I was like dying, Kim's like, oh, well, we gotta like fix it. So like, I hope you're okay, and like just shoved a whole bunch of alcohol in it. But she took care of it for me, which is very nice. So like, I just
Okay,
sat there
cool.
and cried in a chair.
By shoving
Yeah,
a
and
whole
she
bunch
just
of
shoved
alcohol
alcohol in it. And like,
Pour some fucking gunpowder around the wound.
yeah,
and light
for
it.
real, like that's what it fucking
Oh,
felt.
cauterize the wounds.
It hurts so bad. And like I was like
Right,
looking
let's go to the
down
vault.
while she's doing it, like I just see like this giant flap of skin just like hanging off, and I'm like, nope, I wouldn't be able to do it to myself. Like, I don't know how bad it is, but there's like
Gold armor, better get it.
Oh, there's
Shit.
Grim
Shit.
gold armor
bag
over here.
here,
Oh,
purple helmet.
you've got time. Never
Oh
mind.
shit, nice. You got purple hat?
Yeah, I
Teammate
think
didn't want to come, so fuck him.
oh,
yeah, tough hit.
tough titties, teammate.
I need to go back. I need to go back and get some of this heavy ammo. I didn't have room for it with the vault key. Oh, now I got a big ass bag too. Thanks,
Here's some
millions
heavy,
of
too.
cents. Oh, sweet, thanks.
Definitely need the shield cells.
Alright, so we're like dead center.
Yeah, if you want to stay here, it's fine with me. I'm with you though.
Oh, balls.
Shit's going down.
Yeah, let's go check this shit out. I want to have some fun.
Yell timber.
Timber.
Yeah.
I'm yelling.
It's going down.
I'm
Basement.
going down. We're yelling timber.
Friday the 13th, and guess who's playing Jason?
Over there.
All right. Broken
Did you know
got him
there's a
down.
Friday the 13th in December this
Is-
year? It's literally going to be a nightmare. before
Really?
Christmas.
Because there was just one in September or something.
Or at least,
People are up top. People are up
at least
top.
somebody
Oh,
was telling
yeah.
me that. Yeah,
Up on the
I gotta
roof of
look.
that.
I gotta look at it to see if it actually is
You-
legit or not.
Well,
Someone was
you got
telling me
friends that lie to you about Friday the 13th, maybe? Because we have a.
maybe.
I'm not going to use the word friend. We have a fella that we know who lied about hitting. I'm told zero
Who
this.
likes to-
I don't
Oh,
know if I
it's
told you this.
It's fucking
But-
Wednesday. fucking liars.
He
Sorry,
lied
it's-
about getting hidden for 250K on the lotto.
on the
Yeah.
yeah, you're telling
So-
me freaking friend, dumbass friend of yours.
No, friend's a strong word, and no, Grim knew him longer than me. Yeah, it's a word I don't like to use often.
No,
Yeah.
not for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't consider very many people my
What's on
friends.
those people?
I mean, like if
Yeah, fair.
I mean, like, I only consider
You've got
I mean,
your,
people I really like and I feel that I can trust. I would call friends. Everybody else is just people or acquaintances. Yeah. And ironically, I probably know just about as many people online that I consider friends as I do in real life. So,
Oh well, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. I thought you were going to say that you know more people online that are good friends than the guy you're talking about or whatever.
well, I mean, yes, because that guy. Oh my God, why, why are we double teaming me, bro?
Shield up.
No, God.
Oh
Fuck.
shit! I need light ammo real bad.
lately I have
Oh,
better.
here you go.
Lately I have better friends
What's up, Gary?
than I do.
Wait, I thought
Yeah.
teammate was all for it.
Honestly, like
Another
I
game.
spend more time talking to you, for instance, and even Zero, than like most people IRL. I mean, like Grim, I know. I mean, I've grown up with him, but like I spend more time talking to you guys than like
Yeah.
I mean a lot of people. But anyway, so this dude, I
talk to you more than I talk to more.
yeah. I mean, it's probably. Well, it was every day. Now it's not so much because I gotta give time to Kim. But
3 big med
But
kits
that's
in
also
here. Oh, is there a?
I'm
power
also
here too?
not
Yes.
all.
right. But yeah, so this dude, I was trying to blow his spot up today because a couple weeks ago somebody gave me a
Oh, yeah.
picture of when he posted that he won the lottery. Some
Yeah.
girl posted like, "That's a lie. This picture is from this other Facebook," and she like screenshotted the other one.
2 other squads.
And
yeah.
like posted on his wall. Well, then he like blocked her, deleted the comment, but somebody had screenshotted it, so they sent it to me. So like I posted that on his wall, and I was like, "Yo, I hit the lottery too, bro. Like, let's go get matching Lambos." And I'm like, it's ridiculous for someone to pretend to hit the lottery for 250K, isn't it? Or fuck, I forget how I worded it. I thought it was pretty funny, but I forget how I worded it. But it was something like, that's a fraud ass move to pretend to hit the lottery for $250,000. Am I right?
Yeah.
No, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then I tagged everybody, like Grim and everybody, and then no one got the notification.
Oh, we got to.
So I guess he has it set, so he's got approved posts on his wall.
Yeah,
That's funny. What? I mean, what's he going to be like? I won 250 grand. You ain't getting shit.
That's
bitches?
basically
I
what it
mean,
was. Like the next
Fantasy
day, he was
shield
like
here.
posting videos like, oh, you fucking
gold
poor
shield here.
motherfuckers.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
you guys are chumps. Everybody's
okay.
jealous. You're just fucking like, dude, you made this story up, bro. Like,
Oh, somebody's zipping up there. That's where they went.
That's
Shit, we
ridiculous.
don't have
Yeah,
a
let's.
robot, do we?
No. Let's let them hang themselves by getting
Somebody's
the
in here.
other team.
There's somebody back there.
Okay.
It's like there was this girl that I went to high school with, and like now nobody will talk to her because she for some reason had this like she kind of like took off, went out of everybody's radar, and then she comes back with like, oh, you know, I had a child.
What?
Oh shit, Grim.
Right?
Oh goddamn.
She's like, I had a baby, and she's like,
Fuck.
you know, I'm struggling. She's like,
Grim,
I'm
crawl in here,
struggling,
crawl in
you
here.
know, to have. She's like, I'm
Oh,
struggling
goddamn, I
with
can't
money and everything.
Oh,
So
teammates
she
getting
had, like,
executed. I'm coming
she
for
was like
teammate.
using pity.
No, they
Okay,
got
I'm
She's
themselves
using
up.
pity about her, quote unquote, having a kid to get people to like, you know,
That's
like,
insane.
or like to give her money because she was like, oh, I'm struggling. I got this kid, and she was
coming
posting
to you,
these
Grim.
pictures of her. She was posting these pictures of her kids, of this baby, but she would never post a picture of her with the baby, right? Well, like a bunch of people, of course, got caught, like, you know,
Calling her out on her bullshit.
like a bunch
It's
of
just
people.
us and them, Grim.
Well, no, a bunch of people got caught by her and totally
Just
gave
us
her
and
money
Ah,
and
shit.
stuff like that. People gave her money and stuff like that, like out of like pity, like, oh shit, like,
God damn it.
you're trying to
Getting
raise
burned,
this
getting burned.
kid. You know
Oh
what
shit, I got
mean?
no
And,
shields, Grim.
she was doing it, and we found like we ended up finding out she was doing it completely for attention. But like this one, I guess somebody saw the picture of her, of the
Shit,
baby,
I'm down.
and was like,
I can
that's
get myself
not.
fucked up. Don't worry about
Okay.
getting
They're
me.
like, they're like Chelsea. That's not your baby, and they're like, and then they tag the person. They tag the person whose
Oh,
baby
shit.
it actually
The
was
ring's coming, the ring's
in the
coming.
thing. It was like that's this person's baby, and then that person posted it. She's like, what the
That's
fuck? Why are
crazy.
you taking pictures of my? Why are you taking pictures of my baby and everything to try to pity people into giving you money and giving you attention and everything? Because for the last, like, you know, for the last however long, and a bunch of people were hurting on this, like, you know, you were always somewhat of like a loner and like, you know, kind of like awkward and everything, but now you're like you're
Good numbers, Grim.
starving for attention.
Yeah,
You're starving for
even
attention
better.
so badly.
I'll be
that
right
you
back.
need to
Yeah.
you need to pretend that you got pregnant with this
That's
kid
so
and stuff like that,
crazy.
so
I
they
mean,
give you like quote unquote
that's like, I mean, it's crazy, but like, it's definitely worse than lying about hitting the lottery, because, alright, like, both things are easily fucking checked. So what happened, like, with this kid? He did hit the lottery, but he hit it for $300. So when he hit it, on the day that he hit the lottery, there's two posts. One at 11:40 a.m. Of him hitting for $250,000, but it's like just a picture of like fingers holding the lottery ticket over like the counter of the convenience store. Then at 11:41, there's a picture of him, of the guy who posted this, holding up a bunch of lottery tickets in front of a sign on a wall. It says like, "Congratulations, his name, winning $300." No, that was a real picture. He really won $300, but I guess. But a minute before that, he Google searched a ticket, found a picture of a ticket winning for a lot more, and posted both of them. So on his timeline, there were both.
We're out of that
Okay.
game.
On the timeline, there were both pictures. One of him, a picture of him, somebody else took, holding up the winning lottery ticket that he won for $300. And 1 minute before that, there's another picture of just random hands holding a lottery ticket. Everybody's congratulating him on winning, hitting so much money, and da 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 da. And it's like, how long do you think it'll be until people figure out that you don't have $250,000? Like that's only like that's like a month when they're like, because you can be like, oh well, they gotta send me the money, I gotta figure out if I want like annuity, or I want to take like a lump sum, or I want whatever, and you could play that off for like maybe 30
He's
days.
still making up bullshit.
But
Yeah,
then after
right.
that, like eventually it's like you're still driving the same hoopty, you're still being the same bum ass dude. Like, why are you? You know what I mean? Like, it's just fucking insane to me.
Yeah, so
Hey.
he started
Yeah,
dating
no, go ahead.
this girl right after that happened, right? And then it looked like they broke up.
Probably because she found out that he doesn't have fucking money.
So, probably because she realized that he doesn't have money.
She's like, she's like, when I started dating him, I thought he was.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think
You know,
of that?
And it's not even about the money. It's like, if I've been with Kim 9 years. If I found out that like, if she's like, oh, like this, I got a promotion at work, I'm now a partner at my accounting firm, da 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 da. Then I find out like, no, you didn't. You're still the same position. Like, we'd have a serious talk. Like, why would you lie about that? like, what's going on that like you think you need to lie about that, or why would you lie? But like it brings so many other things into question. Like what can I believe? Like, oh, you had a salad for lunch. Like, can I believe that? You mean like I don't fucking know?
Yeah.
Oh, of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
so.
Like, well, once you start with like,
There's zero.
he's like, once you start with the stupid, once you start with the stupid lies, it's kind of hard to you know,
Yeah,
trust anything that person says.
100%.
You know what I mean? You're
It's
like, well,
it's crazy. It's
yeah.
boggles my mind. And like this dude, he does a lot of things that irk me. So like, I have what I call word vomit whenever his name comes up, and I just can't stop talking about him to the point where like Kim rolls her eyes when she hears me say his name. She's just like, oh god, like here we go, Kim.
Who does? Yeah.
Like here we go. This is going to be another 25-minute conversation that I don't want to be a part of.
Exactly.
It's like you and all your friends be like, hey, why don't you buy a half O and celebrate with everybody? And he's like,
There's somebody
well,
in there.
see, the way my bank
Yeah.
account's set up is it's like this.
Well, he also there's another story that I'll talk about after this, where he did something similar.
God.
Oh my god. I'm getting...
Me
No,
neither.
no gun.
I'm going
Now
for a
I'm
gun.
curious of this because I had many friends doing this growing up. But did any of you ever have like a friend that like made up a girlfriend that was like, yeah, I'm dating this girl, or like random like fake ass
Probably
chick
in
or whatever like that?
elementary school.
Oh, you have a gun,
my
Zero?
God.
Or
I had
something.
Zero, do you got a gun? Here,
have-
take this.
No.
I have this friend that
thanks.
I have this friend that does that to this day, and he is like fucking 30 years old. Like, dude, like,
Makes fake girlfriends up.
yeah, he just like he
Nice
randomly
shooting.
will go to like he'll search up like
Oh, there's a longbow in there, Zero.
his so his brother.
Oh, okay.
his
I
brother
was just
told
going
me
for
about
him, but okay.
What he
Oh shit,
does.
dude,
I got you.
right here. This guy's
so-
hurt bad.
Yeah, his brother told me what he does. So what he does is he goes and he finds, you know, he'll go to like find like a random person, random like hot chick, I guess, hot chick's Facebook from
There's stuff in
you know
this.
a completely different area of the country or whatever. Someone where they're not gonna necessarily be easily called
Right.
out, right? And then he'll take a bunch of her photos, whatever, and then make a fake Facebook account to
He actually
say
makes
that
up fake Facebook accounts to pretend he's
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
to pretend that, and then to pretend that he has this girlfriend, and then so she'll be like, so we'll be like, oh, you know, like some people fall for it. They'll be like, oh, dude, like, you know, score, like hot chick, you're dating this hot chick or whatever, right?
Prowler
But
in
like,
here.
so he did it for years, and we're like, and then one of our friends is like, dude, like we've never met one of your girlfriends. Like,
You've
what
had
is up with
37
this?
girlfriends and we've never met one of them. Like,
Like, yeah, and it's like he'd always come up with some elaborate situation as to why they're not dating
You have any
anymore,
shield
right?
cells?
I have two. Oh, Zero, I got
Like-
some heals for you too. I thought
yeah.
you had enough.
I have
Okay.
an empty shield.
Somebody zipping?
Here's
right there?
So yeah,
Oh
Okay.
shit.
Yep.
he'd have like some sort of like weird elaborate situation
His
as to why
shield broke.
Alright,
why they're
Fuck.
not dating anymore. Like,
I'm down.
79 Phil.
Just you, Grim.
He's on my box.
But anyway, so he'd do this all the time, and just have all these like random girls that like he never actually even knew. He just stole their pictures off Facebook.
So he
or
catfished
something.
himself,
And-
basically.
But I guess he was catfishing his friends into thinking that he was dating this hot chick, and these hot chicks, and we're like, oh, like, you know, like dude, like yeah, like good catch, like you know, she's totally like a smoke show or whatever, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like,
Yeah, like,
at some
good on
point,
you, man.
at some point you're like, she's way out of your fucking league, bro. There's no way.
Well, and we were starting to wonder. Like, how come, like, you nail, like, this is what we were thinking, like, and this is what I was thinking before I even got on the topic of, like, or before I started questioning. Like, I started questioning things, but, like, I was trying to trust my friend. You know?
Yeah, that's
like,
tough.
We went to
That's
high
tough.
school together, or, right? And you're trying to, it would be like it would be like Grim trying to tell you a story and you questioning it. You've known him for
Right.
so long that you're like, you know, and he was like one of our like cool like not just like a run of the mill buddies. Like he's actually one of our good buddies. Like, but none of us can stand him anymore because of all of his lies all the time. Like, you know.
And that's what's gonna happen to Johnny. I shouldn't say his name. That's what's gonna happen to this dude. People are just, I mean, like, eventually, once this blows up, and I'm trying to make it blow up, I'm trying to make everybody that he knows on Facebook know that, because it's such a fucking ridiculous fraud thing. Yeah. That, like, like, it's just, it's hard to even talk about because my mind is fucking so blown to pieces over it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but like once everybody knows that, like, oh, he's that crazy that he like would make this story up. Maybe I don't want him at my house anymore. Maybe I don't want to be friends with him. So like, trying to ruin his life basically.
And that's how I was with my buddy. But like, we were like, whatever. Like we were just like getting. So I'd be like, okay.
I was like,
every time I'd hang out with him, I'd be like, how is he? Like, you know, every time we actually hang out in person or whatever, and he quote unquote hits on a girl, like he completely strikes out. And this was my original thought. Okay, so if he's striking out so bad, then he literally has no game enough to think. How is he picking up all these like quote unquote hot chicks that he keeps like making that I keep seeing over Facebook that he's dating, right? So I'm like, okay, like I need to see that shit, right?
I guess I should go over there. Everyone's over there.
Here's the prowler, Drew.
Okay, sweet. Is it really hot?
That's not. No.
So
Your
we're
penguin
like,
over
okay.
here with a heavy max. I'm gonna go to.
I can bring it to you.
We have no idea how this buddy does this stuff.
Well, I need.
Oh, okay. All right, you're actually getting a gun. I thought you were getting a heavy Mac. Okay.
Yeah, I figure since it's on the same side as the.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, so we're like, I don't know how this buddy keeps doing this, and then
there's something else over here. Oh yeah, sure.
There was one time where one of my buddies, and this is how like I completely caught, or I didn't catch him, but one of like my other buddies, who I
don't need that energy mag if you wanted to.
Since, right? This one guy who I met through a friend of mine now, who I met through an old friend of mine. Like we see this picture of this girl on whatever, and we're just like randomly talking, and Buddy with this new friend of mine looks over and he goes, "I know that girl," right? And we're like, what? And he's like, "Yeah, I know that girl." He's like, she's pretty cool, right? And we're like, "Oh yeah, okay." I was like, "Yeah, our friend dated him or whatever, or dated her and stuff like that." And it's like she's you know really hot and stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, she's really hot." And he goes, "But he dated her?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "When?" It's like, "When?" It's like about a year ago. They're like, "That's not possible because like I know she's not a cheater and she's been with the same guy for like 3 years." And we're like,
busted.
"What?" And we're like, "What?" So he contacted her, and he's like, "Do you know?" He's like, "Do you know so and so?" And she's like,
I have no idea.
Right? And then no clue.
Never.
Right? And so he sends a picture of this liar friend of mine to her, and he's like, "You don't know this guy? Like maybe he said that you guys dated," and she's like, "Oh well." She's like maybe in his fucking dreams or something. I was like, and so I started laughing about it. I was like, oh shit. I was like, And so I told all of my friends, I was like, clearly, like, you know, so and so is freaking lying to us about who he did. So we call him out on it, like whatever, and we ended up going over to his house. We ended up going over to his house and talking to him and kind of calling him out on it in person or whatever. And his little brother starts dying.
Did he made it up eventually?
His little brother, no, his little brother fucking lied, threw him under the bus. He's like, so his little brother starts laughing, and he's like, see, I knew one day your friends would catch you for making fake Facebook profiles of these girls, right? And supposedly he had confided in his brother about him doing this or whatever, because his little brother was like, "You're not dating these girls. Like you live with me.
Yeah.
I know you're not dating these girls." Right?
Like you're definitely spending all your time jerking off. You have no girlfriend.
He had told his little brother. He had told his little brother who was like, and this was like, I don't know. I think we were about 20.
On the here.
Okay, on my way.
Okay, yeah.
We were about 25, 26 at this time. This was about.
We just got scanned.
We finally called them out on it, right? And his,
They're inside. Shit. I just went to the roof.
His little brother's like 8 years older than him, or 8 years younger than him, right? So when in high school when he was doing this, like his little brother was way too young to really even, I guess, call him out or realize this or call him out on it or whatever. But when he's 26 years old and his now 18-year-old brother calls him out, we found out. So we're like, dude, like, why the fuck are you lying about all these girls? Like, yeah, and it's like, so then not only that, to add insult to injury, we found out that he's never had a girlfriend.
Jesus.
He's literally been, he's made up.
Yeah.
He's made up, like freaking these girls ever since. Now he's not a virgin because we knew for a
Shit,
fact
the
he
wall's
was
coming. I don't know where this fucking dude
stuck
is.
with this ugly chicken.
Oh, right there.
Like there was a party.
Yeah, I am. It's not letting me. There we go.
There was a party in like when we were
I'm gonna do one more, then get you out.
18, 19. So, and he ended up sleeping with this really crusty chick. Let's just say crusty. And so we know for a fact that he wasn't a virgin, but we found out.
We know for a fact he's got crusty dick.
So now any of our friends. Now any of our friends that like, and he still does this. We'll see like, oh, this new girlfriend on Facebook, and we're like, and so now we troll him. Like when he makes this up, when we see a picture,
I'm calling. I found some deals in this.
We'll make jokes with him, and he gets so angry, and he ends up like taking it off Facebook and everything because we just troll him. He's not like. Okay, so he posted this one picture of this girl who was like, you know, literally like model level gorgeous, right? And we're like, I was like, quote unquote, let me guess, Sports Illustrated, the Sports Illustrated magazine, and it's like scan them onto your computer, and he's like,
like, well, I mean, that's what it is. Like, it's definitely some fucking.
Stealing random people's photos. You know, like, you're stealing random photos and pretending that you're dating these girls. Like,
you should at least be a pro and get a.
I think people are fighting.
Alright, I'm on my way.
Yeah, they are.
like not trying to knock the dude.
Okay.
Oh,
shit,
right on.
sit tight. I had to switch guns because I was out of heavy bullets.
Like I said, I've known this guy since high school, and like not trying to knock the dude. He's totally like cool to hang out with. Totally cool to hang out with otherwise.
I mean, yeah, but that brings everything into question. Every bit of his character.
Like, exactly, and that's why like I can't be friends with him to the level like he used to be
Here,
part of our.
Let's go bring Trevor.
You know, he used to be part of our crew kind of thing. Like back in then, he was like one of these guys that I used to spend like hang out with, basically at least 3 days a week. Like when like and in high school, like he was part of our like crew kind of thing. Like the people that I hung out with every single day, right? So, so it's like it's just hard. It's like I said, we were so we were so close. But yeah, I can't be friends with him to the level that I used to be.
We shouldn't stay here. We'll probably get
Yeah,
fucked by
Zero's covering Zero while he grabs that stuff. There's a knockdown shield upstairs if you want to get that, just a level 1.
Oh, how do you? Oh, there it is. Okay.
There's a Havoc in here.
Yeah, I had a Spitfire, but I used all my bullets. I couldn't believe they all came out facing the other direction. Every time they came out, they were facing you. Oh, there's a longbow up here.
People are coming from behind us. Behind you.
Behind me,
behind
okay.
Where the wraith hole was. We're coming through the wraith hole there.
Trying to get this gun.
Alright, I don't see anybody.
All right.
I saw them running across.
Oh, I see them right there.
For sure. 100%.
They're on that roof. Let me know when we're ready to pop off.
Alright.
Right now.
Hit one for 64. I got fucking smoke.
I'm burning the guy on the roof. I broke the guy on the roofs.
I'm down.
Oh shit.
The wraith
Marking,
is almost
please,
dead.
Grim. I'm with you.
I got you covered. Oh, somebody's right here.
Oh, I hear.
Nice, he's knocked. Good shit. I got you covered.
He's almost up.
Oh, there's a drone here too. There's another squad here.
Those kind of people drive me nuts.
Last one right
There's
here.
another squad somewhere.
Oh,
Because a drone flew in.
right. We did what we could, considering
Yeah.
the situation.
That's gonna be my best game all night, guaranteed.
Is it weak
Yeah,
sauce?
times like that,
Yeah.
there's like
Weak
a
sauce
small
Wednesday.
circle and 8 squads. I figured we were gonna get fucked up. Once we
Yeah,
saw
that's a
shit.
bunch of squads.
Yeah.
See,
Probably-
sometimes
maybe
Joe
it'd be
has
better
a
if we try to sneak away
wobbly
next
aim
time.
Wednesday.
Yep. Wobbly in Wednesday. That's actually a good. Good
See,
name.
I thought
Terrible
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Joe,
through
you
with
came up
Apex
with
Thursday.
weak sauce Wednesday, didn't you?
Yeah, weak sauce Wednesday was.
That was one of your
Yeah.
Wednesdays.
Well, I run out of things to call. I mean to I forget what that term is. When you're negative to yourself.
Word.
Yeah, to word myself. When I try to word myself all the time. When you you make a self-deprecating joke. So I run out of
Yeah, it is.
I run out of self-deprecating things to say that also rhyme, or they don't rhyme, but they have the I forget the word. Yes, alliteration. Thank you.
Alliteration.
So Wheel of Doom Wednesday, Terrible Tuesday, Thick Boy Thursday, Fat Boy Friday, Sad Face Saturday, Suck It Up Sunday, and then I don't know, Mozambique Masterclass Monday, because sometimes I feel frisky.
Shit is.
Yeah,
32,000
that's
and
a whole little
17,000 shows.
Shit, we should go ranked after this.
Yeah, okay, I forgot.
So did I.
Forgot about it.
Until just
Alright.
this second.
Oh.
Grim gets jump master almost every game.
Because you put in the codes. Putting in the.
Yeah, you guys
put
don't
in
know the
that up,
code?
up,
Yeah.
down, left, right, left.
This is a cheat
Yeah,
code.
if you hold the left bumper and up while you're picking, while you're readying up, it makes jump man.
I thought it was holding your penis head and rubbing your right nut. That's what I've been doing the whole time.
That's optional.
That's how you become a man. So I missed everything, just like story of my life.
Did you miss the
Yeah,
truck-
I missed
the
that
car?
whole like area.
There's
I'm down
somebody up
like
there.
in the lower area.
There's a robot up there throwing arcs at
I
us.
missed everything.
Oh, which card is he on, Grim?
The one that Joe was gonna land on, right there.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Defensive lineman.
Here, do you
We'll
wanna
go introduce him to
Can you drop?
Trevor.
Sure. Can you drop some heavy bullets, like one box?
He's moved.
Just one box. One box.
He
Thank
left
you.
somewhere.
No,
need light?
no,
I like that, but I like it.
not yet. Anyway, I have a thing. I have a shotgun. I have a word. Oh yeah, somebody
I
right
hear
here.
Somebody close, you guys.
Alright, I'm coming.
I hit him for about 40 something.
I'm coming to peacekeeper the shit out of his face.
Chasing that bitch down.
There's 2 of them. At least. 3 of them. It's a Bangalore, robot, and a caustic.
Got one
Nice. Oh, they're down there with you now?
All of them?
down. Oh, he shotty me. This one's got a shotty. This one's got.
Nice. I didn't even get the
The other one ran around that way.
Oh, he's over there. I'm on the back guy. Hold it.
He's a goner.
Yeah.
He's a goner.
You dead man.
I'm dabbing on these kids.
Maybe I should keep double flatline. I like the flatline.
I need some heals if you come across them.
I
I have 2 syringes and
Oh, thank you.
Shield
Ye-
cells.
Oh, I don't.
yeah, I
the
need
cells.
I need
Well, I'll give
one of them. Yeah, I just need one of them. Unless there's a
Okay, go
shield.
ahead.
Oh yeah, no, there's a full shield here. So
Yeah, you
That's
take
all
the other one.
That's
Take the
all
other
I
one.
got for heals.
oh here, you can take these back. I got a shield out of the thing.
I got 4. I got
Okay.
4 cells.
All right then. I'll take it, Zero. Relax. Please don't beat me up.
What's that noise?
It's me being
Train?
cool. Nah, train's not here.
Oh no, one of those flying things. Oh, there's a key in it. Let's go to the vault.
Let's go to the vault. I'm completely lost. I have no idea.
And it was gold. And it looked like the key was in every color. Yeah, there's a key in here too.
Noise.
Ooh, these are heavy, man.
I played way too much of this game.
All right, I'm gonna give up my heavy for this RE45. So I got gifts. Here, you need a heavy mag? Boom.
Yeah, oh sweet.
Does anybody need? Well, actually, I'm gonna switch my gun. I'm gonna give her the shotgun. Surely, so I'm gonna need that. Never mind. I was gonna give up my standard stock, but
Let's go to the vault.
Nice. Vault day.
Vault o'clock.
I like the way your calendar and clock work. It's Monday, Tuesday, vault day.
Bunch of stuff on.
Did he just say and the vault day is opened or what? Or the vault door? What?
Something like that.
I don't know.
Something I
Come on
didn't hear.
over. The vault door is open. Probably. That sounds like something he would say. Here you go, Zero.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I'm all passing. I passed that purple shotgun bolt twice. I forgot I had a peacekeeper.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I could use that light.
There's more like. I'm double flatline right now. I'll probably switch up to like 301 or.
All right, here I got.
for sure.
Does anybody need heavy bullets? I can drop some heavy bullets.
There's a
I can
double
use
tap.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
All right, here's 49. You guys can fight over it. No, fight.
I have
Fight,
200
fight to
now.
the death.
I am okay.
Fight to the death.
Pick up another gun. There you go. There's a blue heavy mag.
And 8 bullets and a flatline.
I think it's bullets back.
All right, let's go. Oh, I hear bullets. Let's go.
Oh, here's some shit.
Yeah.
Oh, right here, right here.
Oh, here you go. Yeah.
I see him.
Hit him for 10. Oh,
Broke his
nice.
shield.
Somebody's up top too.
I hit that one.
I'm
for about
grenading up
50
top.
more.
I hit him for like 100 or so.
Oh shit, you know what? Oh, I'm burning them. I never did my social media post. I forgot. So I gotta do that after this game. Lifeline right there. Oh, and behind us, behind us.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Fuck.
And over there. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was another lifeline there.
That.
Let's get on that.
Yeah.
Show them how
I
it's
got
done.
Cool.
After one of those losses like that that feels so good, you want to jump straight into rank. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lose so
Yeah, I like it.
The main thing that game did was make me realize how good I am and ready for rank.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm posting the clip when I knocked them with the grenade at the vault. You like stuck them with an arc star, Grim, and they were burning. And yeah, and then I hit them with a thing. So no, yeah,
Right, posting
Nolan
that.
Ryan. Yeah, that's my
Oh yeah, that video. That was the day that I also hit somebody with arc star from on top of the
yeah.
train.
I also have that clip too.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? I'm trying to look at it now. Let me see. I forgot I saved it and I never watched it.
Alright, so I'm gonna open this. Hit me with a
Yeah, we're on the train. This has to be it.
I might have posted that last week to my grandma of Insta.
What, the
Yeah.
train arc star?
Zero.
Man, how-
Okay,
Laura,
can I be
uh,
Pathfinder next
Looking at that, I'll
next
be right.
game?
Uh-huh.
I need to do a survey
uh,
peeking.
Yeah, let me
I'm
jump
real
ready
tired
out.
of this
Okay.
motherfucker. Fuck off.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
thank you, buddy.
Right.
Who else do I have to be? Gibraltar, Bloodhound, Bangalore, Lifeline, Aretha Watson, Assault Rifles, Skyhook.
Are
No,
we
not
logged
yet.
into the game? It was all choppy, and then I go past the part and try to rewind, and it's showing me like a Ghostbuster symbol. Like, can't do that, now it's frozen.
So not like a no symbol or an anti symbol. It's the Ghostbusters symbol.
It's a it's
I
like,
know exactly what you're talking about. It's the circle with the
You
yeah.
ain't afraid of no ghosts?
It's the circle with the line through it.
It's a we ain't afraid of no ghosts. That's what it is.
We ain't afraid of no ghost. Like Casper's racist ass. No spooks allowed. Like I can't believe
Yeah.
the
Okay,
fucking
Cool, you stupid son of a bitch.
you stupid son of a monkey loving. Dick scab. Damn it, I was trying not to curse. We ain't afraid of no ghost. Why is there audio coming through one of my things?
I couldn't help it. I had to swear.
Dang.
It helps me aim better.
Yay, he be back, he be back, he be back, back. He back, he be back. Oh shit, what did I close? I closed something I shouldn't have closed. stream, I think is what I closed. No, I closed Twitch. Yeah, I closed Twitch. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Did somebody put it on ranked?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I was asking because I just didn't remember that happening.
Oh, I thought you were like, oh shit, somebody.
No, I was like, oh, did somebody put it on ranked? Question mark, exclamation point, period,
Yeah.
period.
Exclamation point, comment, dot, dot, dot.
Oh, so I found I was looking for another email, do another like business email for my 17th business that I'm running. And I can't do any more Gmail accounts because my phone number's attached to so many accounts. So they won't let me. I need a new phone number basically. So I've done that before. I actually created a Google Voice account just so I can create a new Gmail account. So
Why don't you just make one that's called Joe Enterprise?
well, I found a website. I was like looking for other like things like what's a good not so well known because like my main one is at live.com, which I really like. It's they don't give it anymore. It's now Outlook or maybe Hotmail. You can't have the live.com anymore. So like I really wanted. Oh shit!
Somebody
I'm coming.
shooting at me.
I fell off the train. I got
Oh,
shot.
shit. Oh,
by a motherfucker.
Just go back to Yahoo.
Well, I thought about it. I'll finish the story after I.
Yep, now I'm getting shot by
Oh, shit.
this guy that hopped off.
Fuck! I'm coming.
Um,
We gotta go back from zero.
I think he
I'ma go-
thought about using a Yahoo account again.
We gotta go back for Grim. Okay.
I'm coming.
Oh shit! They're here. Fuck.
Dude's coming. I got no ammo.
God damn it. That was a fun rank. Okay, you're still here, Grim. I thought you left. Okay, so I found this thing. It's like mail.com or something. And you can create whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but they have like 200 plus suffixes that you can use. So like, you could be like grimcrypt at accountant.com or grimcrypt at consulting.com or at whatever. It's crazy. So yeah, it's free. So it's just like a Gmail account, but it's mail.com.
So it'd be mail.
No, it would be whatever you want your thing to be. So it would be
Just
yeah.
at that. So it'd be like Joe at
Yes.
accountant.com. Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So yeah, so they have. I mean, they have so many. Why is this not letting me log in?
You guys
Okay.
are respawning now.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome.
What? I'm outside smoking a cigarette. We're responding?
And it's just
Yeah,
mail.com.
mail.com's the website. Yeah.
M-A-I-L.
Yep. And then yeah, you can.
So you would go to mail.com to check your emails. You wouldn't have
Right.
to go to like any
Yeah,
other
so you go there,
site.
but then yeah,
okay.
you could. So if you
There's
could send
a-
something from like, and like you could do USA. There was a couple different countries. I'm sure Canada's up there. So like my email creator was actually the business, which is the Bucks County consignment at USA.com to sound all
Yeah.
official and shit. So like people would be like, "What? It's at USA.com. Like this must be really tied to the county of Bucks."
He's the best. Ooh, a real guy.
The county.
When really it's just some,
I thought you said the county.
yeah, the county of fucks.
Oh,
The county of fucks. How many do you give?
I dropped the peacekeeper.
I give all of the fucks.
No.
I got one, thanks.
Need a hostage rescue. Where is there hostage rescue?
Pick up. There we go.
So elite patrol.
There's an alternate.
I got a scout and a 301. I'm pretty
So
happy.
public execution, public execution, territory control.
There's more light ammo.
research
Did you get that double tap then?
No,
Territory.
I didn't see a double. I found it.
Joe just said he had a scout, and he also. Oh, you were the one that took double tap. I
Yeah.
thought it was Joe. Oh, I forgot. Joe's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I gotta.
I was like, what? I swear.
I gotta scan a beacon. That's why I want to be the robot.
Is there a
I don't
beacon
see
around
one.
here? I don't know.
Yeah,
Dude,
there's
you on the
one
map,
there, or there's one at the sorter. There's two at the sorting factory, and then there's one over there in Hell, or Hell 2. So wherever you guys want to go.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever you're feeling.
All right, Grimbo. Looks like it's up to you. You decide.
I guess
Where?
maybe that one.
All right.
I'm dropping 99.
Almost. I want it, but I'm gonna stick with the peacekeeper.
Yeah, I'll take it because
I'll try to set a portal.
I'm dropping
for
an
the
anvil receiver
place.
off my 301s.
I'm cool on that weird shit, bro.
All right, bro. I just
I don't know what's in the fire.
despot.
Despot.
Where? In
Carmen, San Diego. I don't know, bro. I've been looking for it since the
Oh,
90s.
that's you.
Oh, I should not have gone in that portal.
Yeah, I've been
Oh, what?
looking for her too.
I went into the front one, so it took me back.
All right, how do I?
I didn't realize where you
In
started.
there.
There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Nobody's even been here. Or at least not a couple of places I've looked.
All right.
Yeah, I'll look outside. Select
Oh, well, that
fire.
was a bad out of 10. I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry, chat. That was a terrible grapple.
I could use a
Oh,
prowl.
yeah. I don't have many heals. What did he do?
He would not let go of the arm
Really?
twice. It was insane.
Squirt him with the bottom.
I'm really excited about something today.
Sure. Do you want me to mute it? Turn the camera off? Okay.
So, for Saturday, the Nintendo party,
Oh, right.
I'm watching Great British Bake Off, and of course I'm thinking, I want to make some bread.
Come on, prowl.
Right.
So I thought for the party I could do like one of those like pull apart loaves. And then I was thinking what would be good, and I was
Oh, I
thinking
have zero
pesto,
fucking little mint.
olive oil, garlic thing. And then I was like, that's pretty
Does anybody
much
have
vegan.
room? Carry
So I'm
some
gonna make a
sandwiches? I have big
vegan
ones. Give me
pesto
small.
Yeah, I got room.
cheese pull apart loaf of bread.
It's just two.
And I found a really good vegan
That
cheese.
sounds really good.
Once I get,
Yeah,
oh
I
god,
found a really good vegan cheese. The hardest part's probably gonna be the bread.
I think I'm stuck.
Getting it to be like crusty enough
Nope, I found my way
to
out.
like pull apart.
Right.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would watch some videos, do some research, see if you have to like bake it higher or some
well,
weird
it's
shit.
like the steam and stuff. It's like that's why you want bread ovens because it's steam.
Well, you know what? The HomeSense probably sells one. I'm sure they do. I'll be on the lookout for a bread oven. I'm going for this loot goblin over
I'm
here.
gonna make that Saturday.
Sounds good. I'm jealous.
Yeah, you're not coming, right?
No, I don't like your friends. Kidding. I love your friends.
So you're not gonna get any unless there's leftovers.
All
I
right.
mean, it is vegan cheese. So maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one person there who's like gonna eat as much as she can fit in her tiny face.
Probably gonna have one piece, and then I'll never make anything vegan for her again.
Yeah. Oh, it's so far away now. Oh, it was almost out of fight. Yeah, it was almost.
You got it?
Yeah. Oh
Last
shit.
shot.
Oh, this is gonna be bad. Double tap, but yeah, it was almost out of sight, and I just popped it real quick. I was gonna pop it on blue.
I'm setting a portal.
Pick it up. Why are you not letting me pick this up?
Was there
No.
a key in it or anything?
Thank you for the portal. Nah, it was shit. What was even gold? Shit, I don't know. I'm gonna go back and look. I didn't see anything gold. Oh shit, it's a fucking threat detector site. Absolutely pick that shit up. Good thing I went back. Thank you for asking.
Nice.
I'm like, yeah, something should have been gold. Nothing was gold out of that. Alright, I'm gonna heal up real quick. Cool beans, people.
The blue stock right there.
I've got a. I can't.
Yeah,
use it
I-
myself. So
Nah, I
go for it if
just
you
picked up a
want.
purple one out of that thing. Alright.
Damn, we haven't even seen anybody yet. We are like
Yeah.
gaining points by working
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
All hard work's paying off.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't even heard anything.
I'm gonna receive some anvils.
No, I'm not a weirdo.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I could use a barrel save, but I don't have one of them bitches.
Ready for my sweet
And optics. I
shit.
could use some optics. All I have is
I dropped optics for these gold ones. Shit, if I would have known, I would have. I didn't have room, so I would have had to figure out what to drop for it. But I could have made it work.
Come on, Stinky Bum. Hey, come on, Stinky Bum, get up here.
train just landed here.
Trains don't land.
Here we go. I found you.
Hey, Siren. Come. Thank you, good girl.
It's all this nonsense.
Damn, you don't want these
Don't-
medkits?
I have
Don't-
3.
I'm full of my shit.
don't
Shit,
know
I got
what's anymore. Oh shit! We open the bin. Open the bins that disappear first.
No.
Are they disappearing?
Yeah, they just disappeared.
I just don't have any fucking little
I just dropped
syringes.
2 for that medkit.
Okay, I guess I'll just.
Oh, here. Here's
Well,
those two I just
I
picked
don't
up.
have room either. That's the thing. I have big ones. You think I'd
That's 2 syringes.
just save big ones? What do you
I
think?
don't know. I mean, what do you...
Otherwise, I'd have to
I don't
get
know.
I
rid of
would
them.
drop grenades for it.
Well, I only have 2 burn sticks. I feel like they definitely help kick off the fight.
Right, they definitely do, but...
Yeah, I don't have any. I've
Well, I
got
can worry
one
about
frag
that.
grenade.
That's the way I look at it. If I'm in the
Shit's
middle of a
going
fight,
down.
I'm usually only shielding up anyway.
Okay, yeah, well then that can be your strategy. Just retreat and don't ever let it get lower than your shields.
We might have to go through the train
Alright.
tunnel.
People are gonna be No, we're good.
I mean, the circle's about to. Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can stay
Well,
here a minute.
we
Yeah,
just
you're right. You're
Run
right.
back here. That'd be good. Oh,
Yeah.
you mean for
When we
over-
have to
over-
get away, if
Oh,
we
there's a
don't
care
get the
package.
circle.
Actually, there's a care package right here. When did you guys loot this?
That's what I. That's.
Oh yeah, I did. I do remember you pinging that thing, but I didn't know that was a care package.
Oh, this didn't land yet. There's some.
Oh shit, Zedekis
over
left.
there.
Zedekis,
You guys ready to
yes
fight?
sir. I'm ready to fight,
here?
bro.
I'm
I'm
with
ready
you,
to
Grim.
fight, bro. Pyramid.
Oh, there's dudes here. There's dudes here.
One down. There's a guy on the roof.
Got no sights. I can try.
Where's the down guy? All the way over there?
He was right by you.
No, he's close to
Yeah, he
us,
was
I
right
think.
by you.
Still on the roof. Oh,
Fuck, I didn't know where that thing was at.
Oh, I just knocked somebody with a grenade.
fucker.
Just got another knock. I'm getting grip up real quick. So there's a guy just jumped off the
I'm
roof.
gonna screen
Be careful, Zero. Oh, there's two on the roof. It's another squad. Another squad's here.
Okay.
I'm laying down cover fire.
I'm backing up.
Okay.
Backing the fuck up.
Alright, I'm ready. I'm healed up.
Okay. They're behind there. There's somebody.
They just pulsed from in there.
Shit, on the ground somewhere.
Oh, we just jumped to the roof.
On the roof, Greg. Another one down here.
Gibraltar just called his ultimate. We need to get out of here. That's gonna hurt.
Another dude. No one.
Yeah, Gibraltar's fucking special is her.
Where they
I
at?
heard him a couple
behind
of
me.
times.
Shit!
Oh, there's more than one. Yeah, that's got to be another squad.
We got both remaining squads on us. We did good though.
Yeah,
we
it was a
all
good fight.
three. We're wrecking kids shit.
We all
Look
got
at all those boxes.
We came in second, I guess. Yeah, that was the last squad.
Oh sweet, we put one out. Oh,
Bam, bam, dropping bows on them.
Yeah,
Dropping bows on them.
Those last ones.
So I lied. That's gonna be
they
my
hate
best
throwing
game.
bows.
Alright, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette and stuff. I'll be
Okay.
back shortly, alright?
Alright.
No, come on, man. My Xbox just went out. Hold on, technical difficulties. Alright, I'm back with a spare power brick, some spare wires, and let's see what'll happen here. What'll happen, keep it cramping. I actually just recently switched this to this power brick because this one kept shutting off or something. So we'll see. It's probably time for a new one, but I think I'll just upgrade to a Xbox One X at this point, or not an X, an X. Alright, maybe this wire's bad. Let's see, people. Ah. Shit. Well, that's a problem. That's a big problem. So the name brand power brick has 3 slots, 3 prongs to plug the other wire in. The aftermarket only has 2. I need to use, or no, the aftermarket has 3. The original Xbox only has 2. So if I need to use the original, I need to use, or whatever, I need to use something that, whatever. I have 2 wires that don't fit. I only have 1 wire that fits the one that I'm trying to use. That's what I'm trying to say. Ow, oh, my foot. All right, we got power at least for a little bit. So maybe it is was that wire? Either way, I'd like to upgrade to a preferably an Xbox One X, but I'll deal with S just because the power brick's on the inside. Let me get some time. My foot is hurt. Alright, Xbox is back, bro. I don't know how late I can stream. I'm gonna work at 8.
Headset, everything just kicked out.
I'm back, bitches.
Hey Joe,
Yeah.
you should feel your power supply when it overheats to see where it's hottest, and do 2 things. Put the hottest part on top, like exposed to the air, and get like a little 6-inch piece of copper pipe or some shit, and tape the copper pipe to the fucking power supply, like over the hottest part as a heat pipe. Like,
I would have to fuse
that
the
may
heat.
help. Yeah, it's like a heat gun basically, but like, you can take a copper pipe and wrap a fucking piece of paper around it and hold it over a candle, and the fucking paper won't burn. Like, it's that good at pulling heat away. I don't know if it would work through the plastic of the power supply, but I mean, it's a 6-inch piece of copper pipe, you know, it's like
Right.
$1 or something.
Shit, I mean, I actually thought about... Well, now, so I'm juggling power supplies, so I have 2 power supplies. The last time this happened, it kept shutting off. I went to the original Xbox power brick, and that's what I was just running until now it just went off. So I switched power bricks back, and it still wouldn't turn on. But I have all these wires. So the Xbox, because it's like, there's the power brick and what plugs to the system, and then there's the wire that disconnects that plugs to the outlet. Well, the generic power brick has 3 prongs, like a positive, negative, and ground type deal, and the original Xbox doesn't. So I have the extra wire from the original Xbox power brick, the power brick from the 360, and the power brick from the aftermarket one. So when I switched it from the Xbox to the aftermarket and it still didn't work, I'm like, well, let me try one of these extra wires. So I went to switch that, and I'm like, oh, there's just an extra prong here, I can't make it work. So I had to unhook it, set the original Xbox back up, and try a different wire, and that seems to have worked. So again, I don't know how long this will last.
Well, if it overheats again, just pour like a cup of ice water over it.
Well, no, yeah, I have a bucket, and I'm ready to just like leave it sit in the bucket while I play.
Yeah, that way. Yeah, that
Yeah.
way it'll stay cool the whole time. That's
And like since my foot's injured, I'm also gonna put my foot in it and just see what happens.
that way you can
Why
feel
not,
if it's
right?
overheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
That sounds like
it's
the
time
best-
for an upgrade anyway.
best option at
I
this
don't want to
point.
just buy another power brick. I mean, I've had the system like at least 6 years,
Lay down.
or
wow.
more.
Down.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long, but I've had it. I was a drug addict at the
Since
time.
Xbox One came out.
Not quite that old, but it is an original system, like an older, the black one. So I don't know. So I want an S for this reason because the power brick is inside the S. It's not an external thing. But then, like, if I'm gonna upgrade and spend, I mean, I could probably get an S pretty cheap, used. But if I'm gonna buy an S new, I'd rather just spend a little bit more and get the X.
The extra $100.
And get like.
Yeah.
Yeah, the S is not even an upgrade except for 4K video.
Right.
playback.
Well, the only reason I want.
It may have some slight other advantage, but
Right. Well, the only reason I want the S is because
You
the
want?
power brick, it doesn't have an actual brick. Everything's inside the system. So since the power brick,
I've got to stop a download. I'm doing.
okay.
So I relinquished. I'll be right
Alright.
back. I'm listening.
So everything that is causing me problems, the power brick, would be just as non-existent. It's a different setup on the S. That's why I wanted that. But I could probably honestly take this power brick apart and like let it air cool that way. I don't know if there's a problem with the plastic not diffusing the heat or like.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I'm
so.
gonna land on the middle.
No
floor.
biting.
Well, 2 floors
Alright.
from the top.
I'm gonna land over here
I said no biting.
and not get a gun. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh, but I'm gonna get a purple vest though.
Come here. Here,
There's
down. Sit.
a white one down here, Zero. I got blue one.
Oh, I just.
So
oh,
I'm
I thought it
somewhat
did.
of a cool guy.
I got a 2x sight.
Not as cool as Joe.
I still don't have a gun though.
Ooh, I could use a prowler. You don't
No.
have a gun?
So you're definitely cooler than I am.
Get down.
Yeah.
Alright, I just
picked
Get
up
down.
only 2 guns
I just
that-
got a RE45, so I can live. Oh, and some heavy bullets.
Is it
I'm
easy
good. I just picked up a hemlock.
and a blue bolt. Here, do you want to scout in a double tap?
Ooh, do I have the bullets for that? Yeah, I got the bullets for that. I will take that.
And there's a stock here too.
Alright.
You need to lay down. Quit bothering me. Yes.
Oh, there's a, what's it called here?
Shit, I thought I picked that up. Oh, it fell off. Oh no, I do
no.
have one. It's on
Okay.
my habit. It's on my habit. Yes, I do have one. I just need a trailer though.
You be nice. No, you be nice. You be nice. Thank you.
I did a cargo bot thing.
Alright,
Wow, that was.
I got
disappointing.
40 heavy bullets if anybody needs
Where's
it.
that at?
Jack shit.
Yeah, I'll carry them. Yeah, I got 20. I'm carrying it for when I actually find the heavy gun. I only have 80 light. And, yeah, I have some energy, but I don't even want to have it. I have a blue mag on it.
I can't find a good gun. got a devotion.
Well, when I find
There's an alternator over here. Zero, you don't want the sweet ass alternator?
Yeah, I guess I'll take
how do I
that.
get up there? You can have all my energy. I'm not.
Oh, there's a hemlock up here too, Zero. If you'd rather have that sweet shit.
Thanks.
Hmm?
Oh yeah, I'm dropping this.
Why
energy
can't I
garbage.
can't find a fucking? Yeah, I'm not all about that energy garbage either.
Alright, so here's I'll drop it in here.
Fucking energy ass garbage.
Boop boop boop. There's your heavy, whoever needed the heavy.
So yeah.
Oh, here. Bunch of syringes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
somebody's
got plenty
shooting.
now.
Oh shit.
shit.
They're over there.
Where are we?
Shit.
Train station, I guess?
Oh, yeah. Two, one up on top, one on bottom.
Can I get there through here where I'm at?
Yes.
I think
Steps
so,
up there?
through the stairs. They're on
Yeah.
the bridge now.
Yeah, there's somebody on the bridge. There's also somebody downstairs still. Shooting at us from the door.
Fuck, they got me.
Got one.
Here's somebody underneath.
Yeah. These stairs. About got him killed. Got him. Another one. Medic.
Die, medic.
Yeah, you should probably go chase that bitch down. She's gonna get her. Oh, she's got a shot.
Sounds like
Oh, there's another
Yeah.
squad at the bottom there. Son of
Oh, dude. Oh, shit.
new squad coming. Fuck, I couldn't rate the way. Damn it, man.
Oh, I started. Oh my god, dude.
They were inside.
I
underneath
started
too.
lagging so bad when I started. Oh my god, it was. They were. Oh my god. They were jumping all over my screen while I was trying to kill the bitch.
Oh man, that hurts.
She must have been juking so fast that. Yeah, it
The
was
internet
like-
couldn't keep up.
It was like, skipping frames.
She broke the internet.
Yeah, the internet could not keep up.
That bitch was Wreck-It Ralph.
Broke the internet. Kim Kardashian.
So like, I was telling Grim I was planning on buying World War Z tomorrow, but I just happened to look on the Microsoft store, and they had it for $20, 1 day left.
Oh,
So I picked that shit up.
nice.
There you go. Nice. And it was 30 at GameStop or whatever?
Yeah, versus yeah.
Cool. Good. Good.
So how much was it on store?
$20.
$20.
So he got that shit
On
for
sale for 1 day
$20.
left.
Holla, holla for $20.
Come
Like,
on.
greatest hits.
Nice.
Greatest hits.
Yeah.
pops.
Yeah, the greatest hits was.
World War Z's freaking.
Did they have it listed as greatest hits?
No, I don't know if they do that anymore. They used to be PlayStation's
Did they
things.
have it listed as greatest hits? It's not that.
No.
old.
No,
Oh,
no, I was just saying
Xbox
it
has
was
something
20
like
bucks.
it.
I don't know. They probably, but I know that like PlayStation used to like after the game was out like a year or whatever, if it sold X amount of copies, it would be have like a
Yeah.
red tag at the top, and they would produce his greatest hits. Yeah. Man, I'm having a blast. I wish I didn't have work tomorrow.
Did you evolve?
Nah, I had a half day today, cause
Half day. I was wondering why.
yeah, when they
I
brought
assumed
me
you're done.
into work, my first day, they're just like, pick the day. They're like, all right, Sunday. Come in like 4 to 8. So I do. And then at the end of Sunday shift, the one manager was like, hey, you available this week? Like, what do you want to work? I'm like, I'm available, whatever. Like, I can work anytime, any day except Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings. So like, well, if you had to work that day, what time would you get done? Like, what would you consider evenings? I said, I have to be up by like 6. And they said, okay. So how about you work? Now I already worked 4 hours on Sunday. They're like, all right, how about you work 8 to 4 every day, but Friday, because I have a doctor's appointment Friday.
Because what's on Friday?
Yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 4, and then Saturday, 8 to 4. And then they called me back Monday, and they're like, actually, the 2 managers were there, store manager and the assistant manager. And the store manager says to the assistant manager right in front of me, did you talk to him about his schedule? And she's like, oh, no, that's right. Sunday, when I mentioned about the schedule, I didn't realize that, like, you also worked Sunday, so you would have 6 days, and we don't normally do that. So do you want to take a day off? I'm like, yeah, sure. No, what day do you want off? I'm like, whatever works for you. So then she's like talking to the manager. She's like, well, what about Thursday or whatever? And she's like, no, you'll never get the truck done. She's like, okay. How about Wednesday? Wednesday? I'm like, all right, yeah, Wednesday. I'll take it off. And they're like, and then after we go through this, it's like a couple minutes of this. Then the store manager's like, well, we could use you. So if you want the hours, you could work. So like, if I want the hours, I can have the 6 days. But like, what's the point of this whole conversation? So I'm just like, nah, don't really want to work super hard for $10 an hour. So like, I'm good. And then they're like, okay, oh yeah, well how about like a half a day? Because I mean, we could use you. You want to work like a half a day Wednesday? I'm like, sure, half a day's fine.
Joe, you did land in that one part, right?
I missed them again.
The hanging one? Oh, you didn't land in the hanging one?
Is it at least?
I have a double tap.
there?
Anybody want to double tap?
Yeah, I'll take it for later. It's not bad. It's
Well, it's a retail
Yeah.
store, right? It's home sense, like where you buy like sheets
Yeah.
sheets and like different
Yes.
stuff like that, right? Like,
Yeah, it's owned by TJX,
dishes and such.
Right, here.
which is okay. Here, I got stuff for you too, bro. Boom, boom, boom.
Mine.
Oh, these bins that go down or up.
Oh shit. Yeah, let's go get them.
Good call, good call.
So
Oh, no one's
it's
on the
owned by
train
Oh
either.
yeah, let's get on the train. Yeah, so it's owned by TJX.
Oh, there wasn't jack shit in it.
We're on the train, Zero. Grapple to us. Okay.
We coming.
So yeah, it's owned by TJX. Oh, Prowler. I'm trying to ping the Prowler. All right, you got it.
Hell to the I dropped a bunch of energy ammo and a blue energy.
Okay. Well, I'll take that.
Here's a
front
scout.
one. Oh, and there's a scout.
Some heavy bullets, only got 40.
Oh, all right. Take this. There's 60 heavy. There's some shotgun. I'm taking this scout for this. So I also dropped this. Whoever, there you go.
This isn't looted. You want to hop on? here?
Sure. Did somebody get that heavy mag?
Grim, do you know what this heavy mag?
Oh, there's a heavy mag? Oh shit. Ah! I jumped that one.
Here, oh, okay.
That's gonna take that shit. Out of the
Yeah, jump, don't jump. So yeah, it's owned by TJX, which owns TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, Home Sense, like Sierra or something, and I think another store. So I was hired to be like an sales associate, but they really need people on Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's the truck day. So I kind of agreed to do that. But the way it seems is,
Oh, you'd probably make more as sales associate. Though,
No.
Right? Did you get,
No. Nope.
Commission?
No,
You don't
No.
get commission? No?
No. I just stand on the sales floor and like help people get rugs down or whatever, some bullshit.
Oh, it's like, they'll come to you and be like, hey, do you have this, but or like, do you have any more of these?
Yeah. Oh, I'm being shot.
Or something like that. You'll be like,
Who's?
Shit.
Oh shit! There's somebody right here. What the fuck?
I'm down here.
I got a wraith away.
if you said, if you, I know what you mean. I used to work at Marshall.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, fucking damn, that kid's a good
Yeah, they were
shot.
fucking
But
me up.
Marshall's is kind of like more like what you see is like.
Yeah, Home Goods the same way.
This kid is the threat.
Okay, wow, what character? Is it the fast guy? Watson. Alright. Watson's going down to the fucking basement.
Oh, I thought I was fucking, Mirage. Doing my ultimate, throwing a fucking jump pad.
Oh, shit, yeah, there were 2 people.
That shit was rough.
I knocked one, but got hit by that. So the sales floor isn't bad because, like, I kind of do nothing and keep the shelves tidy, and then, like, since I'm a big dude, they got me working rugs. At least Sunday they did. So if somebody needs a rug, I gotta, like, take a little step stool and get up and, like, take it off the rack. Or if it's a taller than a 5x8 or whatever, it's just like a giant extension on a drill, and I just, like, go to the rug they want, put it on the the bolt, and like lower it that way. So it's not that bad. But like working in the back, because they get a truck Tuesday and Thursday, but the truck is never empty Tuesday and Thursday. So the truck gets emptied, and either I empty the truck or build the furniture or work on the line and like sort stuff. And then
And do you have to carry boxes out, or do you have
no, we have like little hand trucks and stuff. And it's not bad, but it's just like it's constant. So from and days when
You did this yesterday.
yes,
Then,
so the truck came in yesterday,
right?
and it was like 1,000 or 1,100 pieces or something. So like it gets put on the line, goes out to like the 3.
That's a lot.
They call them lines, but it's like three areas, and there's usually 2 people working each area, and you work on the opposite sides of the table, and as you come, you cut open the box and just take it out, and like the box has the department number, so you put it on like what they call tanks, which is like a 5-shelf unit thing on wheels, and you just put it on that, and you just gotta keep it all together, and like certain things get their own tanks, stuff like that. Yeah, so you sort, but it's like non-stop. So we do that from 8 a.m. to 4 basically, well to 2 definitely, and then like some people leave, and then like we take break or lunch or whatever, and then like continue to do that till 4 because the truck doesn't get emptied in one day. So then like
You get paid for your lunch?
I have to clock out for 45 minutes, but I get 2 paid breaks.
45.
So then it's like
15
yeah.
minutes each?
And then we go the next day. So then today we come in and we're working on the truck and trying to get it done. And I left at noon, so I don't know if they finished it. Well, they have to finish it because we get another truck tomorrow, and we only have 1 spot the truck can go. So they come and drop the new truck off and take the empty trailer. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just a never-ending cycle. And I thought it was going to be 2 days a week I'd be back there, and then I'd be on the floor the rest of the time. But it doesn't seem like the back room ever gets done, so I'm never actually on the floor.
They don't have enough people
No.
to do
anything, it seems like if anything, you might be working Monday. If they were going to get you to work Monday to Friday, you might have Mondays on
It's
the sales
some,
floor,
never
and then
mind.
Tuesday,
Or the
Wednesday,
fire hydrant.
Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to end up in the back because you're unloading trucks.
Right. Well, yeah, probably.
That's the way it seems. Like Monday might be the only day that you get, because you said there's no trucks. over the
Right.
weekend,
It's just, yeah, it's Tuesday and Thursday.
so.
But
Monday.
also there was a problem with,
You got
sure.
it?
When I first started,
There's a white vest here for you, Zero.
There's a problem.
they,
with starting what?
they, oh, terrible, now I'm good.
Grenade.
They didn't finish the truck on whatever day, and then there was they had to the truck came to drop off another one. They were getting like an extra truck because it's Christmas,
How do we
and
get
then
higher?
that's the highest. And then they couldn't take the truck, so then that truck that they were dropping off just had to go back to like corporate. So like
Oh, yeah, it's that white man.
that was a whole thing.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, the white heavy mag, yeah, my bad. Yeah,
wow.
so it turned
Yeah, yeah.
into a whole fucking shit show. So now, like, we're behind, so they have to get. So we're getting 3 trucks this week. It's just a fucking. Doesn't ever seem like it's gonna stop.
Jeez, yeah.
Wow, 3
Yeah.
trucks.
Do I look over here?
Sure.
I could use some stuff. I don't have a helmet.
Neither do
So
I.
wait, so you're gonna
None
get
of us do.
3 trucks?
None of us
this
have
week,
knockdown shields. I don't even have a bag.
They're gonna send you another truck on Friday?
Yes, there's a truck coming Friday, but I'm off because of my
wow.
doctor's appointment. And he actually asked me, if there's a bag right there, if I would rather have off Saturday and work Friday, and I'm like, yes, but I can't because.
I have a
yeah.
doctor's appointment.
Well, actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna
So you're working
take
Saturday.
that. Yeah, so like I'm just working a whole bunch of fucking time.
Well, you said you were originally, when you told me, you were like, oh, it's going to be part-time. Doesn't
No.
seem like it's part-time. It seems like they're giving you
And that's
full-time
another thing.
work, right?
It was here, girl. I'm dropping that white mag if you want it. It was the one manager told me talked like it was going to be full time, and then specifically
Blue helmet.
on orientation. Here, I'll bring this mag to you.
the store manager?
A different manager. There's 3 managers. There's a store manager and 2 assistant managers. The first
Okay.
guy I interviewed with and did my orientation with, he sounded like it was gonna be full time the first time. One of the assistant managers, and then during
Here,
no,
take
no,
it.
I'm good. You take it, Joe. And then the orientation, he specifically says part time, and then a different manager on Sunday I work with her. She schedules me for full time. So it's just like either they don't have their shit together, or
You don't need that? You don't have a
they don't
knockdown
have their
shield?
shit together.
Or this
Oh,
is
thanks.
this is all because when none
Here.
of okay, so I was I worked at Canadian Tire. Well, Canadian Tire is the hardware store type thing.
Here.
For years, and they have like a type of situation. Like I was a supervisor, not a manager, but like a supervisor of the seasonal department. So
Oh wait,
that's
where's the gunfire coming from?
the furthest that I got while I was
Sounds
in
kind
that
of
zone,
Right.
left of
Zero,
34.
can you throw a zip line to that roof? There's a blue body shield over there for one of us.
And I know
I
know
was
a
gonna
fact,
say it, but I thought maybe we'd save it for the fight.
and I know for a fact with a lot of
Pop in.
places like that.
Go for it, Joe.
retail
I got
places
that.
Alright, thank you.
Retail places and everything, they'll hire somebody and quote them as part-time and give them full-time hours. They'll quote them as part-time but give them full-time hours so that if ever like they need to cut you down, like they're not giving you they're not saying you're guaranteed
Right.
full-time hours. You're part-time. We're giving you full-time hours, but if we have to cut you down to 2
Yeah.
shifts a week,
Hey,
you
guys
know,
wanna go
2 shifts a
bowl?
week, we can do that without you getting upset.
Yeah.
because you're technically a part-time employee, but you're getting full-time.
I
Yeah,
see some
and that's kind of how they do it.
on that hill.
That's kind of how
Yeah.
it seems like they're
and
doing
there's somebody on the roof.
Okay.
Okay, they're on that
I
hill.
need to cut way down
There's
the
two
left.
blue
Lay down
two
the
blue heavy mags. And yeah,
Shit, I'll
so
take one out.
that's kind of what it is. It's like you only there's like 7 full-time spots in the whole store or some crazy shit. And once you're full-time, they call
Wanna
you
go
like
to
a
the top of this
coordinator.
thing?
Sure.
Okay.
So it's like I
Yeah.
don't know. It's some suspicious ass shit.
I think there might
Yeah.
still be somebody up there, so get ready.
Don't bite me. I'm getting tired of your biting.
Maybe they zipped off
Stop.
or something.
I know.
Now we're
I hear shots like everywhere.
Yeah, I heard.
You know what's frustrating about this dog there?
What's that?
Freaking
up there.
this loves spiciness.
Oh,
and
even
loves
closer
water,
to us,
so I
Grim.
can't
Oh, other side.
deter her. I can't deter her with hot sauce or spraying her.
Oh
with
really?
you want to run over there? They're probably all fucked up from
Yeah.
the storm.
She gets excited when you spray her.
Haha, that's funny.
And she licks if you put hot. Like I was trying to, I rub pepper or hot sauce on my hands because she's trying to bite my hands
Right.
constantly, right? And so I put a little bit of hot sauce on my hands so she wouldn't bite me. And she just sits there. And licks my hand, and then once all the hot sauce is gone, she bites me. again. And I'm like, oh god.
I got no sights that I can hit that far with.
There's somebody back there. You have a zip
So
line?
I ended up getting her.
Can you zip
I
us?
ended-
Yeah,
somebody
we're
got
at
you?
I ended up getting her a crate, so when she gets too crazy and biting me, I just
Yeah.
put her in the crate.
Yeah, we're working on crate training Opie. He's a fucking terrorist.
Oh God!
He's
Car
a
left,
champion.
car left. They're hitting me from a mile away.
Stop and be nice. Nice.
I think
Oh
there's
my
somebody
God.
over here. Oh, shit. Oh, there's a wraith hole.
So wait, Zero, did you download World War Z?
I'm going to later when I'm not playing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Shit.
Oh, quit hurting me.
Oh, right here.
Oh my God.
Oh, fuck. Once I saw more than one, I knew I wasn't winning that fight.
There's like two. Yeah, I don't know how many people were over there. We were in a bad spot.
Don't smack?
Yeah, there was two there on the other side of the rock. That's where I went to go shoot.
Yeah, I don't know if it was two squads or two people or what, but like
Well,
somebody
there's
from way
There's
far
a
away
squad
shot
far
me.
away, yeah.
Yeah,
why I
that's
was
the
on
one
the
that
side
shot
of the
me.
rock. I figured they wouldn't be able to snipe. As long as we can hide from them, we can kill the other fools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna play some World War Z multiplayer.
Okay. Yeah, World War Z could be like a World War Z Wednesday, punk ass bitch, or some shit. I don't know. It's kind of long for a title, but
It's
What
a
one
lot
would
of
it
people
be?
have been. A lot of people have seemed to be playing it. I don't know.
yeah, I was gonna see him play earlier with
think it's-
Grim, but then
it came on the Game
I don't know. Shit just took forever. It was a half day. I had plans. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna like do this. I'm gonna do that. Like I text my brother on my break. I'm like, yo, I need to get the weed whacker today. Like it was raining in the morning, but I figured it would clear up by the time I got off of work, and I'll cut the grass after work, and I'll be cool. Everything will be fine. Well, that didn't happen. And then like the whole day just like disappeared. He didn't get back to me till like 4 o'clock anyway, but then like whole day disappeared. He texted me and like and called, and like I didn't even go pick it up until like 8 o'clock, and then I had to like come home and like rush a walk and ready to get in the shower, but I had to clean up the shit in the other room, so like when Opie gets put away in the room, he doesn't chew all the DVDs and like Xbox 360 games, and then that's when I gouged a hole out of my foot, so it just went downhill fast.
Just,
No,
it's
no,
just
no,
been,
no.
it's just been
Yeah.
shit. I know. I bet, even though it's like,
Let me know.
We're flying.
well, at $10 an hour, I bet.
I'm
I
going
bet
to the one
Kim's
on
a
Mark.
little bit more relieved that you're working.
Yeah, well,
know
yeah,
she's,
she's just doesn't
kind of
like me
like-
out.
On your case
Yeah.
a little bit.
She just doesn't like me doing nothing. You know what I mean? She didn't care what it is, as long as
Yeah.
I make a certain bit of money. Yeah, you know what I
Some
mean,
money.
like as long as I'm not just like.
Yeah.
So like it really doesn't matter. I can build websites or make porn or whatever, as long as that's
she'd probably be like,
yeah, as long as it's $300 a week.
As long as
Yeah,
it's tasteful,
yeah.
right?
As long as it's tasteful porn, she's cool with it.
yeah.
But yeah, as long as I make $300 a week, she doesn't care. Because that's like when I was miserable as a full-time mechanic. I was bringing home $300 a week. So if I bring that in, she doesn't care. She actually would rather me do something else and like be happy. Like we talked about this when day 2, when all this shit was like being shitty. She's like, babe, you have the option to talk to them and tell them like, don't like go in and quit, but go in and tell them like, look, I was hired as like a sales associate. Now what they do is they say, oh, everything is everybody's job. So like if you work in a store, like anything they ask you to do, technically you're supposed to do it. There is no set job descriptions and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And barrel stabilizers out the ass.
But
Unless you get hired for like a completely like specific department,
Volky.
like you get hired as a.
Let's go.
Oh, I didn't even see that shit.
Oh, I
Like-
thought you would have had it.
If I worked at Walmart and I got hired for the pharmacy,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, for the pharmacy thing. That I'm working in the pharmacy.
Right.
Not working
Yeah,
in
but at
other places,
at
right?
Home Sense they
But
don't do
if
that.
they hire you as a sales associate, if they hire you as a sales associate, they're gonna use like, well, that you're supposed to be in the whole store. Yeah, like cover the whole store. You're not a specific. Yeah, I get their whole bullshit.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's, I mean it's just some bullshit, but it's like I don't know. I like so she's like, you can tell them that like you were hired as a sales associate, and you don't mind doing this other stuff because like I really don't, but like I don't really want to do it for fucking $10 an hour.
Yeah, it's the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Here, I'm dropping a prowler
Oh yeah, right.
if anyone wants.
It's a bit much of a. It's a bit much of a work for.
Okay.
It's a bit much work for.
Right. Oh, here's also this and that. Yeah, so it's like I'll do it, but like, yeah, what up, Ozzy? What's going on, man? But like for
Okay, get up.
$13 an hour or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna bust
Yeah.
my ass for this 10. It's not worth it. So she's like, you have the option to go in there and tell them that. Say, look, I was hired as a sales associate, and I don't mind doing this other stuff, but doing this other stuff is not worth $10 an hour. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 30 something,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
getting hurt for $10 an hour, like it's just not worth it. So let's talk about it.
it's
Either
bullshit, yeah.
let's increase the amount of money, or that's really it. Increase the amount of money, or like I'm gonna have to look for another job because like I have. Oh, there's a select fire, and there was a prowler somewhere back here.
Yeah, where was? Oh, back.
No, I
in
think
that-
maybe I thought I just saw one closer, but maybe not.
I think it's a way back. Oh,
Yeah, no, it
they
was a
did.
way back.
The one you told me about. Well, I'm a fast guy. Where was it? It's like
Yeah. It was in there. Huh?
Can you dibs that select fire?
Yeah,
So I can see it. I don't know if you can
dibs.
carry it.
I'm gonna check to see if there's a prowler up. A prowler right here.
Nice.
So yeah, so it's just like she's like, you have the convenience of like we can live without your money, without like what you make. So
There.
like, if you want to negotiate with them and see what they'll do, and if they don't do anything, like you can negotiate all the way up until like quitting your job. She's like, and we can survive.
Yeah,
So I'm like, all right, well maybe I'll do that.
and you know you can.
But you at least put it out there, right? You at least tried and it's not like you're doing it. It's like it's for like complete. It's for a bullshit reason.
No, and there's a prowler literally right here.
I thought I saw one closer, but I couldn't find it when I ran back through it.
Yeah, literally, you saw it half a second ago.
But when I turned around and ran back, I didn't see it.
And you know,
Dead zero, I'm sorry.
they told you 2 days a week on the truck. They didn't say 2 days a week that both extend into another day. They said you'd be on the truck 2 days a week, not 4
Right.
days a week. And you can tell them, you know, I know there was no, you weren't trying to mislead me, but when you said
Excuse
2 days
me.
a week,
Get up here.
that's what I thought
Right.
you meant.
Right. Zero, you don't have a bag. There's a bag over here.
I
Okay.
just got it.
But yeah,
No wonder I couldn't.
so that's like, I don't know, we were talking and she's like, yeah, you could absolutely, yeah, you could, yeah, negotiate to get more money all the way up until like you walking away if you need to, and we'll figure it out.
And then just find something else. We'll go look
Yeah.
somewhere else. or
Because
something
I
else.
saw the TJ Maxx across the street, up by the mall, says that they start start at 13 an hour or something. So if we get a free spot, can you play? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, Ozzy. As soon as a spot frees up, you can play. Actually, I might even be the first one to go. I got work at 8 a.m. So it might be me that frees up the spot. I mean, and it's also like, even if I don't get more money, like for $10 an hour, I kind of don't want to make it a full-time job. I'd rather like save. Oh shit, there's people right in front of me. I think behind this rock right here. That's where I looked. They were super
right here.
cool. Yep.
That rock there, right up there.
Yep. Busted his shield.
Nice. Shit, and the ring's moving too. Oh shit, somebody's shooting from over there. I'm burning somebody.
Okay,
Behind
I
us,
need you to
behind
lay
us.
down and stop being
Oh, this one's hurt bad. Hurt real bad.
Somebody on the roof. How am I shooting through him? That's not cool.
Ah, bitch.
Shit, the wall's here, wall's here, wall's here.
He's zipping up. There's another guy down here or something. Oh, in the wall, in the.
Oh, there's somebody in the building. It's a new squad.
No.
2 people. Fuck, man. Yeah, I'm dead.
Fucking shit.
It's all you.
3M.
Yeah, this will go well. If I get touched by the storm once, I'm dead. Up, there's another fucking squad. God damn. I have no
You gotta
heals.
move. You gotta move. You gotta move or you're dead.
I have shield cells, but I have no health heals.
Yeah, just hug that wall.
Heck, you might want to stick around till 2 more squads die
Yeah.
on their own accord.
Made it to top 7 already, so just sit in that corner until top 5. Then blow yourself up.
Oh shit. Somebody
Yeah, if you
right
just sit tight, you'll heal.
Oh, here they come.
there. I think they might.
I think somebody just shot at them from the train tracks.
Oh yeah.
Run out and steal all their loot.
Somebody's dropped it.
You're almost at half health. Pro strats here, man. Pro strats. Mr. Ozzy, thank you for using the punching bag. I don't know. Thank you for the 60,000 sparks. I don't know what that symbol is. Past the 50% health mark.
Fucking.
Look, they left loot there. They left the loot bin for you to loot.
Oh, 3 seconds. 2 seconds. Shit.
Oh, look at that.
Just what you need. Huh?
Sucker ass majuckers.
Suck 'em a jucko.
Yeah, man, got a gold sight and 2 syringes. Like, they some suck ass hoes.
Oh god, this mofo was shooting me
Oh, you're
behind
about to
while I
be
was
top
killing
5. They're
zombies.
fine.
Alright, you're plus 6 already. Did you have any kills, Grim?
What you gonna do now, Mr. Suck 'em a jucko?
Okay.
No.
He got a syringe. He got
Yeah.
a syringe.
Kill this.
So, alright, so if you're killless, then we should be plus 6 as well.
Yeah, I'm plus 6. These guys have got to be about. Somebody's about to die. Some squad's about to die, surely.
Stop calling me Shirley.
I need more throwables.
Yes, I'm sure, and stop calling me Shirley.
There's a zip line that goes down there.
Kim, a vegan?
No.
Heard her say vegan.
One of her friends is.
You know how some vegans kind of treat it like a religion? in a way?
Yes. This is kind of her friend's
You
kind
know
of
what
like
they
that.
do? They come to your door on a bicycle and they ask you if you've heard the good news about Jasmine Rice.
She doesn't do that, but no, it's all good, Ozzy. Welcome back. No, but she's like, yeah, like that, and like home remedies, and like I don't know if she does like the herbal, what is that called? Essential oil thing. I don't know if she's into all that, but she definitely is like when Kim was diagnosed with cancer, she was telling her like, oh, you can't do the chemo and the radiation, it's just poison your body.
Yeah,
I'll fix up some home remedies for you. And Kim told me this, and I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, no way are you gonna do
She
that.
sounds like an anti-vaxxer.
She might be. I don't know. I don't know if she's into all the anti-vaccine, but like, I told him like, no fucking way. She's like, no, I'm not. She's like, I've read stories like people die because like they do home remedies instead of like, you know what I mean, like, because that's what fucking cancer is. Cancer isn't a fucking joke. Cancer is.
No, exactly.
Shotokan Fist. Shotokan Fist? Shotokan Fist. I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere. Anyway, I appreciate the your website for the easy live views, but I am not interested. Thank you very much, though. I don't want to buy viewerships or subs or whatever. You're running right at 3 people.
Oh my god.
I was kidding about killing yourself once you made top 5. Oh, you.
I can't self-revive in midair.
Dude, what?
Oh,
No!
oh, this is the shit. This is the shit.
My game keeps crashing before I finish a round.
Yeah, that sucks.
Way to go. You got syringes too, I think.
I got Phoenix kit. I'm trying to pop that.
Oh yeah. Pop it like it's hot.
There's somebody waiting up there.
When the Pam
I don't know why you went full Taliban on them. I thought maybe you didn't see the 3 people in front of you running at them with a grenade. I was like,
Oh, no, I was running across and then I saw him. I thought there was a decoy that was left behind. I didn't think it was a real person. I was like, oh,
I'll just flank them.
throw this at them as they run away. Yeah. But it was a real
Yeah,
person.
Joe, this lady I used to know at work, she seemed like a normal person. And, but she had a fucking essential oil diffuser on her desk, and I just asked her if that's what it was. And I might have said, you know, that smells
Is that one of those crazy essential oil diffusers on your desk? And she's like, yeah.
yeah.
You karate chop the desk right in half.
There's nothing wrong with having an air freshener, you know. Yeah, karate chop everybody as fuck. Fuck
Yeah.
your diffuser.
I have
No,
nothing
but like,
against those. I have nothing against those diffusers.
The
but,
essential
like,
oil part
when
is the
people get,
issue.
like, weird about shit.
You're like,
yeah, but so I just said that, and that's, you know, and I said I once got some peppermint oil to try to control ants because I'd heard it worked, but it doesn't. But it smells
Right.
good, you know. And she was like, and then she started questioning the purity of the peppermint oil I'd bought.
I don't know, lady. I didn't boil the peppermint leaves myself.
Well, how pure was the peppermint?
And-
Are you poisoning ants?
And I was
Subpar
like, you
peppermint
know,
oil?
it said it was pure peppermint oil, and she was like, so you know, she started talking about her peppermint oil, and I was like, well, how do you know your peppermint oil is pure? And she was like, oh, because it comes from
Because
this
my
farm
MLM
that
tells me it is.
makes essential oils. Yeah, but it starts getting way worse. Like I was just like, oh, okay, or whatever, you know. I was just trying to get her to shut the fuck up. But like, then she starts telling me that her family
Oh,
has
jeez.
these little rollers that are kind of like roll-on deodorant dispensers. But she called them immunity rollers. And she said they have like essential oils and herbs and spices and shit in them.
Oh,
And she says, this is no shit, she said her family rolls them on the soles of their feet, and they haven't gotten sick
And they-
since.
dude.
No.
Like,
What does the vegan girl we know use? Deodorant?
she uses coconut oil. Yeah.
Coconut
Oh,
oil?
that's not as bad as it's not as bad as this one girl I know who rubs goat's milk on her armpits.
That's
Oh god.
As
that's
deodorant.
it doesn't make any sense. Like, who would want milk, right? Any kind
Yo,
of
it
no.
does make sense.
If you don't think about it, maybe no, even that way it doesn't make sense because like it's milk. Like if you spill like a little bit of milk on my shoe from like the chocolate milk that I drink 24/7, like it's gonna smell like old milk at some point, and you're like gonna add that to your underarm smell. Like that's
yeah,
like
gross.
what is happening? I think she needs an intervention or something, bro.
Right? When she was doing it, she's like, "Oh, it works," and something about like that, and it's like it's his goat's milk is like pure, and this is. I was like,
It's
just
pure.
gross. Don't put milk on your ball.
There's a Prowler
natural.
here, and there
Pure
was
and
a
natural.
select
Oh,
fire over
shit.
here.
Nice! Yay! Best day ever. Yeah, I got that thing.
It's only the finest of breast milks, as Phil says.
It's like look, like that's fucking gross. Like that just like doesn't make any sense. What didn't I? What I could have sworn I picked up a bag. No. I swear it's it.
Yeah, I've heard there are people that think you shouldn't take a bath too. Like
Trains
they think you, like they say after a while,
We're not gonna be able to make it.
getting your
I could probably catch a train. I'm fast guy.
bacterial.
Nah, cause
After you get
Damn,
your
who was over here?
microbiome in check,
Yeah,
you don't
were
need
the
a
one
bath anymore.
cleaning this. You left on the roof and there was like a purple vest up here. You think I'm talking
I
about
haven't been down there at all.
Who pinged this blue mag on the roof here?
Oh, I
that you,
didn't see
Gio?
the purple vest.
Oh,
It
wasn't. I
wasn't.
went in the room. It's literally, I can see it through the glass ceiling here. Well, I mean, not
Yeah,
now,
no,
but it's
I
right where
found
that
a
white
cargo bot on it. Maybe it was
Ah,
another
so
group.
you
No,
ran
this
back.
was it. I downed a cargo bot,
Yeah,
but
that's where I
it did
got it,
not
right there.
appear on my screen. That's weird.
Oh,
All I saw was like the mag and some other shit. Well, I
Did
saw
you
a
loot this
scope-
building? This whole
a
building?
scope
Yeah,
and a
I
mag.
did.
Yeah, I looted it, I believe.
Oh, you know what? The last one's the second level. That's probably why. I could use some lightning heavy ammos. Oh, so you want the Phoenix kit? And I need a hat.
You go ahead and get that Phoenix kit. if
Okay,
you
I
want
still
it.
need a bag.
I've got some pretty good.
No bag yet?
No, man. I've been looking for a bag since like the 90s. I'll have to drop something for this Phoenix kit because it's more valuable than something else. Drop one arc star for it.
Here,
I got it.
carry
I got it. I
for
dropped an
now.
arc star.
Okay, there you go.
I can live without the arc star, without the star of arc. At least until I get a bag.
We gotta move toward the circle. It's not. I mean, it's not very far, but
Yeah, I got a purple. Could use a light mag, would be swell, but go up the line, bro. Go up the line. So Ozzy says, I shall milk my goat and bathe in it. Gross, bro. That's gross. Oh, we got a majigger coming in over there.
Oh, Jigger?
I freaking suck him
A sucker ass majucka. Yeah, sucker majucka's so good. Grim like didn't curse like when we were at his house when we were younger, so like he would say sucker majucka all the time. And it like
Really? It's that old? I thought it was when I
yeah.
was older. Now it's
Yeah, it was when you were a kid. You used to say it too, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it.
yeah, that's a good song.
It's such a funny thing to say.
I took the hat. I needed a hat. There was a med kit too. I have one. I have two now. Anybody need a big
Did you?
med kit?
Yeah, I could use one.
Did you have strict parents? Grim, did you have strict parents about swearing and stuff?
No, my parents are
Not
strict
about
at all. No, they were strict.
swearing,
Oh, no, broken phone.
but more like about everything.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
I spot some caustic traps over there. So.
Shit, did something just disappear off the... Did you just have something ping, like a shield battery or something? Med kit.
Med
The
Okay.
med kit. Did you
Yeah,
not
here
pick
it is,
that
I got
up?
it.
Yeah. I dropped it for you.
Yeah, I wasn't quite caught up at the moment.
Are you the one zipping around, Zero?
Yeah.
Here, robot.
Wasn't quite caught up, but I'm back now with a vengeance and a Spitfire and a dream and a bag. I got a bag now. I'm a bag-o man now.
Damn, baller.
Cluster trap down.
I feel like I just heard a pop, like a gun pop.
Yeah, I just shot a caustic trap.
That was Joe shooting the caustic.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody's listening.
I think somebody, lifeline care packages got called in. Yeah, like it that way.
All right, do we want to push it? Push it real good.
Yeah,
Follow me. Oh, shit.
Push it real good.
I hear people.
Oh my god, you guys are so far ahead of me. I'm
Okay.
coming.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm powering up.
I was just throwing that.
I'm going
to
Super
pop
Saiyan.
in.
Somebody's on the roof.
Oh yeah,
over there.
one's to the left. They're outside.
Why am I missing? They're glowing fucking red. How am I missing them?
There's one shielding up behind that shit. The other one's behind that.
Somebody's
rock
up here with me.
Got one.
There's be only one Birdman, bro. Shit, I don't have any grenades.
I'm down. I heard him a
You wanna
little
get
bit.
me up
Yeah, I'm
before we
trying.
go
I'm
over
coming to you.
there?
Coming, I'm coming. Oh shit, you're in.
He's going to get his dude up. They're right next to the care package. No, he's
Okay.
avoiding them.
I'm getting
He's
good
coming
up.
towards you.
Oh, he's
Or
here.
He's coming in your general direction.
Fuck, that hurt. Oh shit, there's another guy. There's two of them. Leave me alone. Damn.
Hey, that was a good try. That was.
They did
that
the
was
old
pretty good hip
pinch
fire
a
you were doing
move.
there. You heard him
They
pretty
came on
good.
both sides and pinch.
I think that must have been another squad because I think we downed 2 people.
I thought we did.
And I didn't see him getting his.
I thought there were 2 down. That's what's.
I'm 99.99% certain there were because I downed another one. I believe, maybe not. I don't know. Whew, I got pissed.
Yeah. All I know is I was surprised when that Birdman came in the room there. I think it was a Birdman.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I turned around and there was someone there popping me in the booty.
I didn't think he'd be able to open that door.
Yeah, I don't know.
You little bitch. He's a little bitch, isn't he? Joey, I'm gonna get that guy.
I'm gonna get that
Shoot him right in
motherfucking
the
Joey
head.
guy. He's a fucking fuck.
Oh, this same Jardy. What a gamer tag, Jardy.
Some people aren't creative like us, you know?
Jardy. Okay, I'm cool with it. If that's what they want to be called.
Oh no, she better don't.
Oh, my aim there was. I don't know. I think I learned that in the cereal box. That was terrible.
I mean, you
Oh,
should
why
learn
am I
something from a
running into
cereal
the
box.
zombies? What are you doing? What are you doing there, Trevor? Come on.
So I need one more kill
No,
with a
Trevor,
light
what are you
machine
doing,
gun for my daily, and then I'm done my daily. Well, then I have I need to earn X amount of stars or XP to get my battle pass level. I need like 14,000.
Oh my god. I got stuck in the middle of the freaking board. That was not fun.
Can't get stuck in the middle of the horde.
Oh no, she better don't.
Oh no, she didn't.
Oh no, she didn't.
No, she better don't. No, she better don't. Listen to that RuPaul remix.
I can't remember what movie it was, but maybe it was Barbershop, I think, or like the old dude's like, RuPaul, I'd like to climb her tree, and the dude's like, you might hit a branch or two on the way up.
That's pretty good. I mean, hopefully just one. But
yeah.
BRB Ozzy, I got you, buddy. I'll keep your seat warm. All right.
Okay, I'm doing absolutely terrible at this. Why are they all have better aim than I do? I need to focus. Last game was good. This game's trash.
I gotta get Knox in the.
Oh, I got you,
Where'd it
Joey.
go?
Oh, Metro killed
In the drill site, which is right next to the blue, which is right in our path. So hopefully people will just jump and I can get Knox and I can get this thing out the way. Oh well, it's 1 o'clock. Oh, OP. Shit, I didn't realize it was 1 o'clock. I'm gonna have to call it soon. It sucks, man. Like, I don't wanna.
Okay.
What time you waking up?
7 is like the latest I can get up. Give me enough time to get ready and get there.
Oh, I don't know how to get the fuck in this building. I landed like a dead end. I'm still not in the building yet.
This dude on my boss
Yep.
is hurt he's almost dead.
What? He fucking lasered me. I think 2 bursts from a prowler, maybe? He must have hit me with all 10 shots because I went down instantly. 100 health. I went 100 to 0 real quick, like Jake says.
I hit him with 2 prowler bursts, but not the full burst, I don't think, on both of them. I probably... No, I can look at my death recap. Oh, I did 98 to him, Joe.
Oh, that's crazy because I'm... Let me check this because I thought I shot him with my... With the triple tick. No, I didn't hit him with it. I could have sworn I did.
Oh, what?
And I thought that, okay, well, he just like lived and he hit me with 7 bullets from the prowler for 112 damage.
Man, all 3 of them.
Gangbang.
I'm here for the gangbang. Here for the gangbang. Oh no, she better don't. Alright, so one more good.
She did 98 damage. So if they had 100 health, if they didn't have a vest, you were 2
Yeah.
situations.
So if I would have been able to connect one of my 3 triple take bullets,
Yeah, that's...
if it didn't like go around them, because like I was aiming
This is a tight match, actually.
like at the torso, so I don't know what happened. But yes, if I would have been able to connect with one,
More so
yeah.
with the torso.
if only I was more so in the torso, right through the dick hole, then maybe I would have been able to kill him. But I couldn't and didn't, so whatever.
That Jerdy Jardel guy, he's good.
See, when you're good, it don't matter what your gamer tag is. Alright?
Right? Everybody
Could be like,
else-
I smoked
everybody
this
else
skin sausage. But if you get 100 kills per game, it doesn't matter what kind of sausage you smoke. So one good game and I got to go.
Yeah,
Oh.
I've got a little bit left in me, but I probably just got 2 or 3 left or something.
Pandacore.
Yeah, my quality is definitely declining.
Yeah,
When
mine
did that
too,
guy?
man.
When did that person join Pandacore?
Alright, I have a good feeling about this.
Alright, let me
Heck yeah,
turn this
positive.
face
Think
cam
positive.
off. Let me stand up for this. Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to stand up because I got a
Fucking
bad
joke.
foot. Forgot about that. So,
I sent a decoy to each hanging box on the far
Alright.
side.
I'm going to meet.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully that will help you deter.
I'm going to leave the top for you guys and I'm going to peruse the bottom. Keep this shit on lock. Let people know this is our neighborhood. People definitely landed here. I definitely
I don't
got
have a gun
scanned.
yet.
Oh,
I hear
someone,
people
yeah,
down
somebody's
there.
right here. Got a shotgun.
I'm coming to help you, bro. Take him towards
They already jumped to the big building.
What the fuck is this?
Yep,
You got him?
yep. Gibraltar's down.
I'm with you. Yeah.
There's a guy in
Yeah,
there.
he's down.
Oh, he's crawling
I
to
like that game. I like the game you're taking over my cartoon show. Lama Del Rey.
Shield.
Thank you.
There's
Oh,
another
shit.
dude that was crawling.
drop
Oh yeah, yeah,
Here,
yeah. I need I don't have any heavy bullets.
I hear somebody
left.
else running. Over
Alright,
this.
coming.
Alright, so I just swapped out for the shotgun. I just dropped the prowler in that box that we were just after him, but I didn't have any heavy bullets.
Did it? there's that crawling guy. There's a prowler, and you put it in the box, and then there's a select
Yeah,
fire
he
somewhere.
pinged a select fire. Select
yeah,
fire
it's in
right
one
here.
of these.
And the prowler is over here. Yeah.
I'm hearing somebody.
Oh, they're bringing somebody back.
Yeah, never mind. They're bringing somebody back.
Somebody getting brought back?
Yeah, the prowler's right here though.
He ran away. He ran
Oh,
away.
full
Somebody
squad, full
around
squad
this
right here.
Full squad.
They just showed up.
Oh, damn. That was, the Wraith is almost down.
Yeah, Wraith is down.
Oh man, I'm blowing myself
Stop doing
up.
that. I need you full health, bro. They're fucking me up. This Bangalore's getting...
I'm here.
We don't have any more shotgun bullets. Nice.
Yep.
Oh, nice. I can finally get rid of that for that. Shit. Oh, you took the heavy... Shit. Well, then this does me no good. Heavy,
The
heavy
what,
bullets.
Yeah.
I gotta get rid of this.
Alright, got.
Alright, hold
Over
on.
there.
Alright, I gotta get rid of this gun. Well, no, I don't need it. I don't need it. We gotta get zero up there. Yep, somebody just flew in.
Oh shit, they use that thing. Yeah, let's just get him up. Where can we go? Back this way, back in the drill site.
Yeah.
Over there.
Hold on,
Alright, where was this prowler at? One of these boxes? This box?
no, it was in this box right here.
Don't forget those dudes running on the other side of the shit you're on.
Oh shit, we gotta go. The ring's gonna move in. Oh, the drill site was just used.
Yeah, maybe we should go.
Let's go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just used it. Alright, then yeah, let's go there. Okay. Oh, did somebody just use that shit?
No, it's still there.
Oh,
It's
you
still there.
fucking kidding me?
No, it's still there.
Alright, I'm going straight for it. And Ozzy's back, so we gotta put on a good show for the Ozzy. For my one true fan, man. Hey, who's this weirdo standing next to me?
There's a vest in here.
Yeah, there's a alternator and some bullets over here by those bins.
There's a devotion charge rifle in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta drop this. Oh, for a scout. Nice. I got a double tap on an Eva.
I think I'm hearing footsteps. Not sure. Definitely hearing footsteps, for sure.
I do too, up on the train track, I think.
No,
Yeah,
somebody
they're
just
down
shot
there.
at them from the train track.
They're also there.
I just saw the bolts come down from them.
There's one.
Shit.
I thought there was
I'm
somebody
popping
else.
smoke.
Oh,
running
yeah,
towards
I'm
the
coming.
smoke.
There's a blue body shield up there, though. I think someone just came in the building that I was just in.
Got one.
They're up on the train
Where
tracks.
they at? Oh,
There.
up top.
Oh, there's a drone. Oh, we just got his buddy's thing. Nice.
Up the drone, be it.
Oh shit, the wall's here. Wall's here. Gotcha. Oh, right here.
Yeah, on the.
He hopped on the train.
There's a wraith here, I think. Shielding up. In here. It's a robot.
He's over here.
One down.
There, got him down.
You back there?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought we were going over after that.
No, we were.
That might be them.
There's another team over there. Follow them.
Yeah.
Oh, they're on back, please.
Shit, I got no help.
Oh, here. I'm healing bitch. I'm healing bitch.
Oh, okay.
There's another
All
squad
right.
that's going to be fucking
Yeah, I got you covered. Come with us.
Oh,
Come with us and get some heals. And then we'll kill them and then we'll loot.
I didn't mean to close that door.
I need to get bullet. I have nothing left for this havoc. I don't want a havoc anyway. Alright, I got a 99. Let me drop this energy ammo, this dumb shit. Alright, so I need light and heavy real bad.
Here's a select fire.
I got a.
I got. Here's okay, you got light.
Yeah, I only have 7.6 heavy, so I'm gonna look around for some of that.
I'm light too. I'm about
Here,
90
there's
heavy and
320
light.
light here.
Yeah, there you go, Grim. Somebody's getting brought back.
Here, I'm good on light now.
We gotta move quick. Very
Blue
soon,
mag,
very
you
soon.
want to go up? You want to go up there towards them?
Oh, here, we got Phoenix kit.
If
You
that
guys
may
got
be them
heals
that
and
are
stuff,
bringing things
grenades.
back.
There's a use site. A blue
yeah,
bag, 240 light bullets. 30 seconds, and then we gotta move. Or we actually gotta move like ASAP.
Yeah, okay.
You
You want to take the rope? They might have been getting their dude up. Okay.
okay,
I'm running with
yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate the sparks. There, Ozzy. Yeah, man, I'm. That's what I do to fools.
you. Okay.
I make them go.
Yeah, I see them. They're there.
Oh, and someone's shooting at them from a distance.
Oh, they're fighting somebody
And
closer.
somebody's over there.
Fighting people there.
But we want to get closer, so...
Yeah. Okay.
And we don't want to be the guys in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah, let's. We want to be whatever point of the V we want to
So
be.
we can go back here and then look at the mini-map. We can get behind these guys.
Yeah. Good strategery.
I like the strategy.
I'm hearing them.
Okay. Stealth mode engaged.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting some pussies. Thank you for the sparks, Ozzy. Thank you. I gotta be very, very quiet.
They might have ran further left. I think they did.
There was heavy bolts back there.
They're still fucking over there.
Oh, they're all the way over
Gibraltar
there.
it.
Oh. Okay. I see. Okay.
We were too stealthy. They left.
So you want to go through the back? Back
Oh,
where we came,
okay.
like through there and go around? Or do you just want to dive in? Whatever you guys want to do.
Whatever.
Yeah, there's heavy ammo back here too. Where zero is.
Oh, was there? I wasn't
dude,
looking.
caustic trap.
Oh shit.
What the fuck am I looking at up here? What is glowing through? Oh, I think the caustic. I think they're in the vault, guys.
Oh, you can see them
Okay.
in the vault. I see.
I see something in the vault. I don't know why.
What you can see in the vault? Watch that caustic trap.
Watch
I
out.
see like a blue outline thing up there. I don't know why. It must be a bug or something.
Zero's got wall hacks on.
Unless one of us has a vault key.
I don't see nothing.
Oh fuck. Oh, it's actually not in the vault. It's just some blue. It's something. It's something pulsing blue, and it's in the direction of the fucking of the train yard. But I don't know what. It's just some kind of glitch.
Oh, your first box. You landed here. Your first
Oh,
box. was blue.
okay. Oh, we gotta
All right.
go
Oh
back.
shit.
Or something. We gotta go somewhere.
Or yeah, we'd have to.
Yeah, we gotta
all
go
the way
back the way
up
we
and
came.
around.
Yeah, I think we got it. Yeah.
Probably easier than going all the way up and
We
around.
might meet somebody. Yep, people in the vault.
Oh shit.
Oh, this is right where we did it before. Let's see if I can knock him with a grenade again. Like Nolan Ryan. Grenade!
Broke somebody's shield with that shit. Somebody's in the vault.
Oh god, I ran right into that.
Yo, we have so many grenades, it's ridiculous. Everybody's just throwing grenades.
Shit.
Damn! I should not have just stood there and got played.
Oh god damn it.
Oh, man. Alright, well that's it for me. Ozzy, thank you for being here. Thank you for the sparks and the lots of stars and the pizza and the splat and the, all the stuff and the BRBs and the goat's
Why
milk.
couldn't he send
Hey, we
you
made
a
34
Meow
points,
Karoon?
so.
Why couldn't
Well,
he
we
have
each had 3
sent
kills,
you
so
a Meow
we're
Karoon?
good.
I mean, he could have. Maybe he doesn't like the meow coon. The meow coon. I was so confused because I didn't have Mixer open, so it just like in the restream it just pops up as the word. So I'm like, I thought you typed meow coon, and I'm like just that. So I'm like, is that like a joke that I'm supposed to know? Because I don't know what a meow coon is. Oh my god, yo. Ozzy, why didn't you tell me that unless I just did that, I was showing my computer monitor, which is showing my stream through Twitch, but it's like, instead of showing my actual, has it been doing that the whole time? Okay, yeah. I got work at 8 a.m., buddy. I would love to stay on the floor and play with all of my peoples, but yeah, no, I can't. I don't know if they're staying on. I don't know if Zed's gonna switch over
I'll play
from
another one or two.
World War Z. I don't know what the plans are.
I'll do this.
So they're gonna do a couple more. I don't know.
Oh, I'm heading to bed soon enough.
I don't think I have Ozzy on my
Okay.
friends list, so I don't know how to invite
Alright.
him.
What's this tag?
Ram.
Ram. Yeah, Ram should be
Ram.
on.
Oh, maybe I
Is he
do,
on
but I
now?
don't have. It's not showing up on
He said
my shits.
Yeah, I don't see
you
him.
just. Oh, I just did it. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna invite him. You want to join this party there, Ram? Why you? I don't know what you're saying, bro. It's like, it was Finn, sad. Why you leave? You're spelling everything wrong, bro. You need some grammar classes. He's like, yeah, it's like, it was Finn, sad, and then just the letters YU, and then leave is LEV, and then I'm sad. Alright, so, alright, I'm gonna shoot Ram an invite. If he wants to join, he can. I'm outie like a trouty in fucking Saudi Arabia. So, there he is. So let me leave that. So adios, fellas. Thank you for the games. I appreciate it, Zero and Grim and all that. Actually, while you're here, let me do my. I'll just log off so you get all the thanks as I do it on the stream. You know what I mean? Because I thank everybody anyway. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. People on whether it was Facebook or Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, wherever it was. Thanks to Grim for the games. Thanks to Zero for the games. Thanks for Zed for being in the chat, keeping it lively. Thanks for Ram for joining in, stepping into my places. I'm stepping out. Everybody, all the support on all my socials. It's Mechanic on all socials except Twitter is Mechanic G. Follow me there. Follow Zero Logic on Instagram and Facebook as well. And appreciate all you for coming out. And those who didn't come out,